like these lids. This is like a throwback to my childhood. We lived in Hawaii. We drink bottled water all the time. We had that style of lid.
Mm.
That's just what I associate with.
Why do you hate the lids though?
Oh, it's just like because they like close on you when you're drinking. At least this one is. It's like
yeah.
It's pinched my lip. Other than that, I don't really care.
Wait, did I record that?
Are you?
Yeah, we're recording.
It's a bit important.
We're live?
All right.
Okay.
This is your show. You start it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the...
You're way too close.
Wait, we don't have any viewers.
Exactly, so it doesn't really matter. This is more of a test than anything.
It's always going to be a test, Dylan.
To be
It's
honest,
never
yeah.
not going to be a test.
True.
Okay, so we were talking about because I slacked off and I didn't write down a prompt for this whole thing. We're just going through and seeing the things that Alex wants to talk about in this to get a general overview of him as a person.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure right there. It's the talk about what Alex wants to talk about episode. Okay.
Yeah.
We're off to
Well, we can talk about what I'm doing now, which is going to school for wood and boat building. It's kind of interesting.
It's very specific.
Yeah, that's a part of the issue.
What school is that?
So it's the Northwest School of Wood and Boat Building. It's in Port Hadlock, which is just like 10 minutes south of Port Townsend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty much the only thing there. There's that. There's a QFC. There's like some...
Not even Subway.
No, there's not. There's not a Subway. There's not a McDonald's. There's a dispensary. There's a hardware store.
Nice. Of course. Dispensary.
That's about it. There's like guys There's always a guy walking around with like no short or wearing shorts and no shirt, carrying around scrap metal in like the middle of the winter.
Is it the same guy or is it just like a different guy each time?
I think there's a couple of them.
There's a couple of them.
You know, I worked.
Is it like a club or what's going on there?
I think it's just the archetypal person in the area.
What use do you have for scrap metal if you're making boats? Wooden boats?
I mean, like we use a lot of brass hardware for stuff or bronze hardware. Like all of our, but like like different just trimmings and stuff. But it's not like those aren't our guys carrying around random scrap metal. Those are just locals like looking through the bushes trying to find stuff. You know, when I was working this summer, I was down in Quilbillies. We would call them Quilbillies. So it's got a funny name we could like, as applicable to the area. But I can't think of anything for Hadlock.
That's really funny. Quilbillies.
We can talk about Quilbillies later. There's always a lot of good Quilbilly stories.
Okay, so we got
stories. Definitely Quilbilly stories.
I'm gonna write that down. So
Yeah.
Quilbillies.
Oh, yeah, we can just talk about my summer as well. My summer was pretty fun.
What'd you do this summer?
So I worked as a sailing instructor at a scout camp over in Quilcene.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty interesting.
Okay. Okay, so we have
Quilbillies. Just put Quilbillies.
Quilbillies. Oh, and is that the same?
Yeah,
thing?
that'll work. Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah.
Those are the same topic.
All right. So your summer Quilbillies. That's all gonna be the same thing. So we have school, Quilbillies so far.
Yeah. I could talk about aquariums, like fish
That
keeping.
could be fun, yeah.
Fish keeping.
I don't know how much I want to talk about. I mean, yeah.
I
That's just me. I'm just going down the things that are me.
Yeah. Because I remember you told me that you had like four main aspects of your life or something like that, and I want to see how those have changed.
Yeah, we can talk about like
How you've changed from... How old are you?
I'm 18.
18.
Yeah, just from last year, just how I see myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can try to remember how I saw myself then, how I see myself now. Yeah, what's the term? Not subdivision of your life, or I guess aspects is fair way to say it.
I think because you had like four.
I felt like there was four
like
distinct,
like branches of what made you.
Yeah, what I was interested
like,
in, or what I identified as. I'll think that there's a better term for it. I'll think of it at some point.
Self-image? That sounds
multifaceted.
Multifaceted.
Like the different facets of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I should be using verbal fillers like that.
How do you spell facet?
Don't worry about it.
F-A-U-C-E-T. Wait, no, that's faucet.
Whatever. Facet.
Multifaceted.
You could be multifaceted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
faucets are useful.
School, Quilbillies, aquariums, then versus now, and faucets of life.
I'm fair with that. I mean,
That's what this podcast could be called, the faucets of life.
What? Yeah. If we need another name for it.
Yeah, if we need another name for it.
I mean, do you want any? I got more stuff I could talk about.
Is there anything else like major in your life that's going on, or that you want to do, or that has happened in your past?
Well, I don't like. I mean, sailing's a part of the whole boat building thing. So
how'd you get into sailing?
I can talk about that.
Okay.
Because you also have a lot of interesting stories about sailing and sailing camps and stuff like that.
I got a lot of good stories from this summer. Yeah. That you haven't heard yet. They're all sailing, or a lot of them are sailing related.
Nice.
I don't know, other things on me like Warhammer. Pretty big into Warhammer.
Right.
Painting.
What's Warhammer? That's a game, right?
Yeah, like the
game.
Warhammer like tabletop version. You like paint like one of the things about it is you have like little models and stuff. You use as pieces and you have to paint. You paint them all and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
It's kind of interesting. It's fun. This kid's into it back there.
Aiden, how's the audio? How's the audio?
Must not be good because he couldn't hear you. No. It's good.
It's really invested in 10 seconds before.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna wait for Aiden to like be there for like a couple seconds and then go.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what's more important to talk about Warhammer is possibly talk a little bit about D&D because that kind of ties in with my woodworking stuff in a way, or my ideas for the future. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm talking tabletop games. We can definitely talk about what your future and your futures, and then do you have like, I guess what we could also talk about is just like your philosophies on life in general.
Yeah, if you have questions, I'll try to answer some.
Yeah. We could. Yeah, I don't know how we. Yeah, whatever.
I've already got a few questions in mind of philosophy of life questions.
This is why we have Dylan.
All right, are you happy with that?
Yeah,
That
I mean,
should
it should be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Where do you want to start? You want to start?
What do you think's the most interesting on that list?
Most interesting?
Well, we should start with sailing.
Yeah, I think sailing's actually
your history with sailing.
really
That's a
affects a
broad
lot of the
topic.
other things in
Yeah.
there. Okay, so this is my sailing story. I tell it all the time. I think it really it's not really of an interesting story, but how I started sailing, and I think it's really important for how my life has gone from that time to now and to the future. So it's like freshman year. It's like February, probably around Valentine's Day or something, and there's an announcement at school. First period, everyone's like freaking out, just like this, no one's listening to announcements. There's all this chatter, and I just barely made out an announcement talking about how there's a sailing team at Parks and Rec and they're starting. They started it was like a Thursday, like that Tuesday they started, and like that sounds kind of interesting. I'll check it out. So I go down to the docks downtown Paulsville that weekend or that day, and I said, hey, I want to sail. And I got in the coach motorboat, and I went out, and I see all the boats leaving, all these little 14-foot dinghies, and I see one start to tip over. I'm like, they're going to capsize. And then it goes like flying 60 degrees, turning through the wind, but also on a heel. And I see both the crew like fling themselves out and get the boat perfectly flat. And I'm like, what was that? That was amazing. And if you don't know anything about like small boat sailing, it's called roll tacking, and it kind of just blew my mind. But after that, I'm like, this is really interesting. And I got in. I sailed that first season freshman year. I didn't know what was happening. Probably by the end, I kind of knew what was happening a little bit maybe. And we're only like, it wasn't a real thing. Like, we'd practice like 2 days a week. We'd go to regattas on the weekend, and then I kept on sailing the next couple of years. And I started getting jobs as teaching sailing during the summer and stuff. And I got a boat.
Wait, was this teaching sailing? Was that sophomore year?
Junior, senior.
Junior, senior. Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you teach through?
So I taught in Kingston at Sail Kingston Cove, which was a great program. I really like the guys there. They also work there, and girls, I guess. Everyone that works there, and a lot of the kids are really great as well. I did that. So junior year, I did that most of the summer, and then senior year, or I guess after senior year, or in between, I guess I taught some privately on my boat, and after senior year, I worked at a scout camp, and I did a lot of different things when I was there, but my main thing I was there for was teaching sailing, and that was a totally different beast than teaching at Sail Kingston Cove, where it was a lot of younger kids, where like the oldest you'd see was probably 15. It'd probably be like 8 to 15, usually around 12 at
Right.
the most.
Is that good money?
Oh yeah, it was really
Yeah.
good because the place I was working, like it depends on where you're at. Like there's 2 places in Paulsbo, and there's a place up in Kingston. Like those are the really close little ones, and Kingston's way better money. The lady that runs it's just really nice. She just really cares about getting instructors and paying them well, and respecting
great.
them, and and it's just a non-profit, so all the money goes back into the program, and she thinks that giving it back to the instructors is what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good deal.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Go out on the water all day, teach people to sail, and then senior year I taught sailing, scout camp. That was a totally different beast, and I don't know if I was prepared for it, but by the end I definitely had it down.
And then we taught some sailing too.
We did. We taught some private
Right in
lessons
the
on my
beginning of the
boat
summer.
a couple times before I broke it.
You broke it?
Oh yeah.
Wait, what's up with that?
So
Your
over
Spark,
the only
right?
what's only what's sailing.
Why don't you tell the story of Spark?
Oh, vitals. Oh, of Peaches or just my boat in
Your boat, yeah.
about how I got it.
Yeah, and then what happened to it?
Okay, yeah.
That's
So I got my boat junior year, just like 2 months before I started working at Kingston Cove. But they were like I was already set up to work there that summer, and there was someone on the North Kitsap community page. I was asking anybody wanted a free sailboat, but they had to be associated with like or if any group wanted a free sailboat, like a sailing team or a learn to sail or anything like that. And so I contacted them and said I'm part of Dogfish Racing and Kingston Cove Learn to Sail, and I can give you the contacts for the head of both of those organizations and see if they're interested. So I gave it to them, and both the organizations said they couldn't keep it just monetarily, just the money wasn't there. So the owner of the boat, she asked me if I wanted it, so I said, yeah, of course I want the boat. So even though a free boat is never free, but I did the most I could, like looking around on it to make sure it was all good. It was a pretty good state, just dirty. That's about it. Got it. It was literally 20 seconds away from where I worked over the summer, and we'd go out and sail after work and stuff on it. It was pretty good. It's a 26-foot Beneteau, if anybody's interested in looking up. Beneteau 265. A lot of fun. But okay, it's about breaking it. Yeah.
I haven't heard this story yet.
Okay, so
I just remember going out and sailing on that boat.
yeah, so it's like okay, I'm gonna talk about this story. This can go off to some other important things to talk about, kind of important things, I guess. So this summer, you know Sam Ward, right?
Sam Ward?
Do you know Sam Ward?
I don't think so. No.
All right, so Sam Ward and Cody Ward are 2 good friends of mine. I know from Scouts. We play D&D together. We do a lot of stuff together. And I know Cody goes to school in Arizona, becoming a rocket scientist. But Sam's here, but he's back during the break, right? And we did a lot of sailing the summer before this. So the 2 of us are all here and like, hey, let's go sailing. So we're going to do overnighter. The plan was to go, hopefully you go to Blake Island and back. And we ended up not...
Wait, what? Dylan, what? What are you doing?
Never mind. It's fine.
What did you
All
break?
right.
Nothing. It's good. I'm alright.
What was your plan? What's your...
Nothing.
Okay. So,
Plan wasn't to trip. Sorry to interrupt.
So the plan was to go to Blake Island. So we did a little prep work before this. Like my dad
So,
and I,
for anybody who doesn't know, Blake Island is just like a tiny island. Out
Yeah,
in the middle
you
of the-
can't
it's like
get
12.
there
It's like 12
unless
miles from
boat.
Paulsbo. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not
Right.
super far.
Just
Yeah.
by boat.
Yeah, he used the boat there. A lot of
And then-
people do like kayaking trips from Bainbridge to
And you
there.
can like camp there, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And
We were just gonna moor there, anchor there.
Yeah.
I've camped there a few times.
But like we were doing some prep work for it. Like we scrubbed the bottom of the boat, got some scuba tanks, and did that. And I made sure the batteries were all charged up, and for the engine. So we got all prepped, got all our stuff. Got Cody, Sam, and I got on the boat. It was kind of later than we wanted to start. Maybe like 3 hours before sunset, maybe 2.5. But we got out. The wind was pretty fair. We started going up. Of course, it was all upwind. We made it to like Brownsville, and it's getting kind of dark. We're like, let's just moor here. So we go to the marina there, and we're looking around. We're like, where do we tie up? Like, there's all these guest docks. We don't know where to tie up exactly. And we like type on the fishing spots, but we're trying to figure it all out. We're like walking around, go to the marina office. We're like trying to like no one's there, and there's like this giant group of like drunk boaters partying on the pier. We're like talking to them, like, oh, you just go wherever there, and then you can tie up and you'll be fine. Like, okay, so we like made our way over there. But this is where the first of the trouble started. So we had a kayak we were pulling behind us just to have for whatever reason, and we were pretty good about whenever we were backing up to make sure someone's holding the tow line for the kayak, and we forgot this time, so we were gonna move to go to the actual slip, and we ran over the kayak. Well, the kayak was safe, but the tow line got stuck in the prop, and this is at night now. It's become
prop?
night. It's like the thing that spins that.
Oh, okay.
But like there's a shaft that comes out of the boat, and on the end of it's the prop actually, it's the propeller.
Mm-hmm.
It got all tied up in the propeller shaft, the drive shaft, and we're like, okay, someone has to go down there and cut it loose. So this was mid-August maybe, which it's not the coldest, but I was in the water all summer, so I'm pretty used to it. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. So like strip down, grab a knife. My friend Sam had a big light that we brought, and he would shine it underwater. And I just like swam it. Of course, we used to have we had dive gear on the boat, but we took it home after we cleaned the bottom. So of course the mask wasn't there, which would have been great. I could have done it in probably like one try, but it's like underwater at night, trying like feeling around, trying to cut this line loose. We finally got it most of the way loose, and we like motored over, tied up, and we thought we were good for the night. And then there was like the security guard that kept on looking at us. And he's like, "You guys stay safe, okay? It's like you should really stay safe here." We're kind of concerned, like, what's going on here?
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
What's that alluding to?
I don't know. But then we're looking at like the forecast for the next day, and it looked like a thunderstorm was coming in like midday. And we're like, oh no, we're gonna have to wake up early. So we woke up at like 5:30, 6 maybe, and we're just gonna try to haul it to Paulsbo. You know, give ourselves plenty of time. And we get up and we go to start the engine. Oh, there's a little funny thing before that. We were cooking that night. We're cooking brats, and we just kept on dropping them off the side of the boat on accident. It was fun, but so there's like brats floating around everywhere in the marina. They kept on like because it was on the grill, and we like open the grill and the boat would rock and they would just roll off. But that's not really important. But okay, so we're ready to go. It's like 6 in the morning, 6:30. We all the sails on deck. We're gonna motor out and put sails up, sail back to Paulsbo. And we go to start the engine, and I'm like, I'm not really. That sounds kind of weird. And someone from down below is like, "Hey, Alex, it's smoking down here." Like, what do you mean it's smoking down here? It's like there's smoke coming from the engine compartment. So we like stop it, rip it in the engine compartment, grab the fire extinguisher. There's nothing on fire. If you look at the batteries, the leads that go into them, one of them was all just all burnt. We're like, oh no. So we're like, okay, let's not even try to start the engine anymore. So we ended up sailing upwind out of the marina, and it was low wind, and I think that was a good thing. It was interesting though. We sailed upwind, started sailing back to Paulsbo. There's like no wind at all after pretty much maybe a quarter mile to Keyport. The wind was gone, so that's about a mile left, and so we ended up just like rocking the boat, kineticking it. We had the kayak paddles, a stand-up paddleboard paddle, just paddling. We couldn't get through Kingston for Keyport for the longest time because the current was going against us. We finally got through, and we're just kind of sitting there on Liberty Bay. There's no wind at all. Looking at the forecast, seeing the thunderstorms getting closer and closer. There's nothing. And we start singing like just camp songs and like John Denver, like Country Roads, just out there. We're like, okay, let's tow the boat. So we're like a quarter mile away from the marina. We like grab the kayak. Sam and I get in it, and we start towing the boat. It's four tons maybe. My boat might be. I think it's 4 tons. I don't know.
I don't know how you even
what
paddle with it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, we just like grabbed the kayak and like tied it off to the breast hook and just started the 2-man kayak and just started paddling in the kayak, and we were able to tow it the last bit, and it was a lot of fun, but it also kind of sucked. We're really cold too. It got really cold that day. But you know, I got back into port, and we're like, okay, we're not gonna look at the engine today. We're not gonna deal with this. But and we went and got breakfast. It was pretty cool, and we kind of laughed all that off. It was a fun day. But you know, long story short, we burnt out the starter, is what happened, and I went to go. So I figured that out. So I went to go pull up the starter like a month later maybe, and I can get everything, all the connections off, all the hex bolts out, except for one. There's one hex bolt that's behind. I think it's a transmission that's blocking it, so I can't get a Allen key in there. So it's probably they assembled that before they put the transmission in. So it's just one of those things I can't get to it now. So I'm gonna try to get marine mechanic to come out, but that's another story about how marine mechanics are just in such short supply and they always flake. But supposedly there's a guy that's coming tomorrow that's coming out, and but I think if we get that pulled out and get the starter rebuilt, we should be good. And if anyone wants to buy the boat, it is for sale.
But it doesn't have a working starter.
You can sail it though.
That's true. I just remember when we went out on the sailing team. We went out. That's how we met. We met on the sailing team, and we went out one time because I think it was like one of the last days of the season. There was like nothing left to do, and so you're talking
about the second to last day.
Or what was the first day that we went out on your boat?
The first time we went on our boat was probably just as knowing the coaches have showed up.
Oh, yeah.
There was 2 of those, I think. we're like, none of the coaches showed up. We're like, we can go to my boat, I guess.
Yeah. So we go to your boat, and then I don't remember which time this was, but we get out there, and then the engine wouldn't work coming back in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we were sailing out, and it was fun, and then we had to dock in this little, tiny corner of the marina without an engine or anything. So we just had to haul ass back in there, and then
we sailed upwind, and then maybe 20 feet from it, I call okay, when we get 20 feet away, I want to call drop sails. I need everyone to drop sails, and whoever's up on the front, make sure you're ready to fend us off. Those are always I've had to park the boats way too many, or dock the boat way too many times under sail, I feel like. But I figured I was wrong then. We had a bunch of growth on the prop, so it couldn't open is what was happening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's different from the starter. But there's a couple times where we've had to, or like the time we had one time we had to back it in upwind. We couldn't get it. It's the same thing where there's too much growth on the propeller, so it wouldn't, because it has a folding propeller, so it closes when it's not in use, and when you go to engage it, when it spins, it opens up, and I guess the way it opens up or whatever, now the growth is just blocking it. That was fun though, docking them. Yeah, like that.
What was it like doing the sailing camps, teaching sailing? What's that like? You said it was kind of wild.
Oh, so there's 2. The scout one. So just kind of start with Kingston Cove. Kingston Cove is pretty chill. You get 8 kids a week, 8 to 10, and 8 to 10 kids a week. You go from 9 to 3. You go sail for 2.5 hours in the morning, go break for a lunch for an hour, and sail till 3 in the afternoon. And go teach them how to sail, just kind of screw around, play games with everyone chase after the tennis ball, or don't let the tennis ball in your boat, or just give them water guns or whatever. It's pretty chill. And there's usually 3 instructors and 2 coach boats, and 10 kids, maybe, or around 8 boats and the kids. So it's a pretty manageable scene. So this summer, I got to do a local scout camp, and I've been there a couple times over the years as a scout, and kind of wanted to work there. So I got a job there. There's a lot of responsibilities when you do this. It wasn't just sailing. At Kingston, all I do was teach sailing. There's a lot of other stuff I had to do there. But I had 1 class a day, and it was a 2-hour-long class, and it's 2 hours long. And every single week, it was only me. I was the only guy teaching the class. I would get 17 kids sign up, except for the 1 week where I got 34 kids that signed up.
Oh.
So how did you do it? Were you in a boat with them?
Okay,
or did you teach it and then send them out? Or?
So this is that changes depending on what it changed over the time. So at first we had 1 working motorboat, which the motorboating class would use. So I had a rowboat, and also I think the first week. Okay, on the first week we had 15 slots, and that was putting 3 people in. We had 2 FJs and a Catalina 15, so we had 3 and 3 in each FJ and 5 in the Catalina, which is kind of comparable to a V15. Except a little more freeboard, but it's comparable. It sits a little better. So there's there's not enough boats for the amount of kids there. There's not enough me to go around to try to teach kids how to sail. So we're tried my best, teaching. It's the first time I'm teaching sailing just by myself to a group. I've taught it privately just by myself, but like to a whole group of people. And I did the most I could on land, and went out and just taught them, and just I'd rowboat around or sail around if I felt like there was space in a sailboat, and just talk them through. And by the end, it worked out, and they all know it. They all could sail, and they all said they had a good time and stuff, and it worked out. But some weeks it just like the week after that, pretty chill. Same thing. And then we broke a boat, of course, and then we're down to 2 FJs. And it was a constant battle of breaking boats, and just as this boat breaks, this boat's ready to go in, and that type of thing would happen all the time.
If you have 2 FJs, how do you get 34 kids
What?
to be taught?
Oh, the 34 kid week?
Yeah.
Okay, so that week we had
34
So
kid
each,
week.
because each FJ can hold 2 people.
we would do 30. But okay, so that week we had 2 FJs in. We had the Ranger, which is a Ranger 20. We had the Blue Boat, which is I don't know what it is. I don't think anybody knew what it was, but it was interesting.
Just the blue boat.
The Blue Boat, yeah. Some guy was trying to call it the Penguin, but like it didn't really like ever catch on. One of the other guys there.
Yeah, I know people who do that.
Yeah, it was it was like the guy that used to teach sailing there, and he was working at a different part of the camp now. He's like, yeah, you should call it the Penguin. I think we're gonna try to call it the Penguin. I'm like, yeah, it's the Blue Boat or the Leaky Boat. That was the other name for it. But so we had 3, 3, 4. So we had like 10 between the Blue Boat and the FJs, and then I put 15 kids on the Ranger 20 is what I ended up doing.
Okay, so
Oh,
how many
How-
people is the Ranger 20 supposed to have?
I mean, okay, my boat's a 26-foot boat, right?
Yeah.
And remember we had 12 people on there once, I think.
Yeah.
It was kind of cramped.
So
Kind of cramped.
I mean, 5, 6 people, I would say was the maximum for it to feel good and sail well.
Okay.
And it got really interesting, is all I can say. Luckily there was good wind that week, so we can move that boat around. But
how old were the kids?
so 13 was like it's 13 to 17,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So not like
not younger. Yeah, no.
10-year-olds.
I was like, when I like the sign up tables, I'm like, it's like you have to be 13. If some kid tells me he's like, oh, I know how to sail already, I'm like, tell me how, like, okay, prove it to me.
Yeah.
And or I'll be like, I put a lot of restrictions on my class,
Yeah.
and I also did a lot of, are you really sure you want to take sailing? Are you really like, look at this list of people here. Are you really sure? Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely interesting. It was the sad truth was there was times where it's like, hey, you want to grab a rowboat and just hang out there and just switch out halfway through, because that's what it came down to a lot of the time, because there's just too many people. But it was, I mean, I think all my weeks had fun. I think most of the guys, I think in all the weeks, I don't know why I was always 17. I think in those weeks, I was really happy with the results of the class of that week. Like most kids were sailing good, and I think most kids said they had a good time, even if they're lying. It doesn't matter. But like the 34 week, there was like maybe 5 kids that I feel like I didn't really got a short side. They really pulled a short stick, and they didn't really get much sailing in, and then they got a lot of on land training, talking about how to do it, but they didn't really get much sailing in. But it was interesting, that's for sure.
What was it like the best part about that whole experience?
About working at Parsons or sailing there?
Just working there, teaching all the kids.
Okay, so for the sailing part of it, I would say my favorite. So one of my favorite experiences. I taught sailing in the morning from like 9 to 11, but there's also troop time. So Scouts is like troop base, so it's like a troop will be like somewhere usually between like 10 and 60, usually between 10 and 30. And every week you get assigned a troop that you're kind of in charge of, but you're not really in charge of. You're really just there to answer questions for, like, if they have questions about how something works with the camp, you're there to let them know. So you're just supposed to hang out with them like maybe twice a day, like, which is really hard time-wise. We had a lot of other stuff we're supposed to do, but like just hang out with them twice a day and sit with them at meals. So I would always try to convince my guide troop to sign up for troop time big boat sail. So pretty much what that means is I would get to hang out with my guide troop that I'm supposed to impress, and I get to sail for 2 hours with them. And we'd go take the Ranger and go out and just go mess around out there. That was some of my favorite. We had this one time where we had a group out there, and there's a lot. Those are really good kids that week, and they were like something. They saw something red out on the horizon. Like, what's that? I'm like, I don't know. Go sail to it. So they sail over there, and it's a inflatable, like a helium balloon, right? So some kids like, hey, let's grab it. So they grab it, and it's kind of deflated. But there's a little bit of gas in it. So this kid just takes it, grabs it from the water, just bites into it, and starts sucking out all the helium. And yeah, there's definitely helium in it still. He's all squeaking around. It was pretty great. And
Can you do that? Can you just bite?
yeah, he's bit into it and started sucking out the gas. It was pretty cool.
That's great.
Yeah, and they also grabbed like a log and like pulled it up and like hid it in the boat. And they're like, you can have this lighter. Like, I don't want the log. Take the log out of the boat. But yeah.
Did you see that video of the guy who had a balloon full of all the noble gases, and he would inhale them and see what happened to his voice?
Cody's lab.
Yeah, Cody's lab did.
I don't think I've seen the exact one, but I've seen stuff like that. Yeah.
It's crazy because he starts with I don't know, the one there's like I think he starts with helium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his voice gets all high, and then the next one down, and his voice
Neon.
is like
I believe no.
a little bit
It
high.
would be
Neon?
neon, I think.
Yeah, and then he just as he goes down, he just starts to sound more and more like the Hulk.
That's pretty cool. I can't think of what it's called. There's a similar thing when you're inhaling gas and it lowers your voice, and it was used. I can't think of it's. I think it's sort of benzate, but they'd use it for an insulator and certain capacitors. But it's pretty cool. Like, I know there's like a MythBusters clip of them inhaling it, but it lowers your voice really low. I can't think of what it's called.
How does that work?
Yeah.
I know how it works.
So how does that work?
How does that work? So how it works is that so your voice, as it vibrates, I'm just explaining the basics here. It travels through air, right? And that's how the sound gets to your ears. Is it makes waves. But since helium is lighter than air, the waves travel faster.
I think it's less dense, so they're
It's-
closer together.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see that. Yeah.
And then it works the other way.
And if it's denser, it takes longer to get to the next one,
Right. Yeah.
or it's slower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So what? So that it was that the thing that you wanted to talk about mainly in the summer, or was there other?
I can talk about so much about the summer. So,
Why don't we like block it up into
okay.
like what was the first thing that you did during the summer?
The first thing.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did is I showed up for like the training week, and I
This
looked
is for this
for scout camp.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I showed up for like the first week. It's like the training week, right? And I'm looking at the congratulations, you've been hired, and like when to show up and stuff. And I has a date, and I can't find the time. And my friend that kind of got me into this, Clark, I asked him, I texted him, like, hey, do you know what time we're supposed to show up on whatever, like June 17th, I think is what it was. He's like, no, I have no idea. And then I was looking at it, I'm like, well, I'll show up June 17th at some point. I'm like, so I showed up at like, maybe like 4 o'clock or something. And I get there, and, you know, I asked him, like, what time were we supposed to get here? And it's like, oh, it's in the first line of the contract. I'm like, I look, and literally in the first line, it says like 9:15. Like, good start. Good start. But pretty much that was it for like that. It was like the first day. It ended up being a really good thing I ended up showing that day. That one day made a difference. But they were like, okay, whatever, it's fine. People have been coming in all day. First like real thing we did after like, you know, setting up, sleeping there, and we had like cabins we stayed in. But first like on the job thing was they had a boat they put out on the first day, and it capsized, and its tanks filled with water.
Oh.
So it was capsized. We couldn't ride it because it would just capsize again because all the weight in the tank. So we ended up having to drag it out with a motorboat. But this is when the motorboats were still we're still working on them. Second day of the summer, and they're all messed up. Yeah.
Wait, so this is they didn't do this on purpose, like to
No,
test you or
this is
anything?
not on purpose. Like we had a line we titled the boats to on the water, so we didn't keep them on chocks on the. We had a pier, and we had a really small actual floating dock, so they're all tied up on a line, and one of them just capsized, and the tanks got filled because there was a crack in one of the tanks somewhere. So the tanks are just like air cavities to keep the boat floating if it does capsize. So yeah, they got filled, and we're like, so we can't ride it, so we have to drag it out of the water and get it on a trailer and let it drain on land. And so at this point, one of the motorboats kind of works, one doesn't work at all. But the thing about the one that kind of works is you can't idle it. at this. So you have to start it, kick it off the dock, and just go full speed, and then you can kind of go lower, but you can never stop moving with it. So we're finally able to like circle it around, and he can grab the line, and we end up dragging the boat through the water. Of course, we have to go around the pier, so it just adds extra time in the water. And we get it on a trailer, on the boat launch, and we start winching it up, and the little hook on the winch that clips onto the boat breaks. I'm like, nice. It's all filled with water. It's probably thousands of pounds easily in there. Okay, so we just tied the webbing on the winch directly to the boat. Then the winch mechanism itself broke somewhere. Like, nice. So we ended up getting a tractor and pulling it out with a tractor onto, and like people braced onto the trailer, and it pulled it onto the trailer, and it drained for like over a day. But that was it's kind of nice because that boat kind of sat around as a demo boat where it could show you how to put up sails and stuff on the land. That was the first thing I had to do was steal with that boat. That was the first part of the summer.
Is that getting in the way of the audio? The fan?
It was a good start, that's for sure.
What do you?
I could see that. I could see that
Okay.
spark.
Yeah. There's also an off button. Yeah. All right, so that was the beginning of your summer there.
Yeah, it was the first thing that really happened. Really the first thing that happened. Yeah.
So then, what was the second exciting thing that happened?
Second exciting thing that happened, pretty much. So
Well, actually, first of all, the end of the last story, the boat works now.
no, the guy that actually donated the boat came at like halfway through the summer to it's called commissioning, where you're like an adult and you just work there for like a week or two just to help out with random stuff. And this guy donated the boat, and he wanted to help out get some of the boats that weren't in saleable conditions fixed. So he did a whole bunch of hardware stuff to it, and he said that there was more wrong with it than just the tanks being kind of messed up. Like there were some rigging issues, and I was on like dish pit week, so I pretty much had no free time at all. And I wasn't teaching. I spent a week cleaning dishes, what it was. And it's like, it's a do your time type thing. Like everyone has to do it once. And he kept on coming into the kitchen and was like telling me about, like, hey, can you come out and like just check out this boat real quick, and I want to talk about whatever fix I need to make. And I'm like, I can't. We have 1,000 plates of macaroni and cheese we have to clean real quick, and then maybe. But yeah, the boat never truly got fixed. So
Dang.
yeah, it was a sweet little thing. It was a Catalina. It was Capri 14 trapeze. It's pretty cool, but yeah.
So next most exciting thing, yeah.
This is gonna take forever if I do the next most exciting thing.
What are the three most exciting things that happened?
The three most exciting things that went down. Okay, so I would say there's this one storm I let kids go sailing in. That was fun. That was good.
Was it like, what kind of storm was it?
Maybe high teens. It wasn't super stormy, but for first week sailors,
Yeah,
High teens. What is in the high teens?
like 17 knots. So
which is like roughly equivalent to miles an hour, right?
yeah,
It's
I think it's
wind,
1.1
right? I'm a stupid person
knots
who
to a
doesn't
mile. I think that's the way it goes.
Yeah,
Slightly, yeah. I think it's 1.1 to a
because
mile.
yeah.
I figured out what a knot is though.
What?
So like, okay, so it's, if you divide the world up into 360.
Oh, right. Instead of miles, it uses like degrees, right?
Yeah, so it's like you go to 360 degrees, right? And each degree, or each hour, I guess, has 60 minutes.
Right?
It's a minute, I believe.
Yeah. So it's how long it would take to, which is confusing because it's time.
Yeah.
It's how long it would take to get a minute.
Yeah,
Right,
but
so-
the distance of a minute.
Yeah. The distance of a minute.
The distance of a minute.
Yeah.
Dividing
Well, I knew the whole story about knots, as in like you would
Or yeah.
you have a boat and
time
you'd
distance,
let a line out the back, and you'd see how many knots, where you'd tie a knot every length, every minute or whatever,
Oh,
and you could tell how many knots went by, and you would time it and say we had 7 knots go by in that hour or whatever. I know that's like kind of why it's called a knot, but I didn't know what it was until recently. Yeah.
Anyway, so back to your your high teen knot.
So so like there's these it was 2 FJs in blue boat and the Ranger. So it was one of the big weeks where we had a lot of boats out. And it was a pretty good class that week. Like, I felt like they really knew what they were doing. And I was pretty impressed by them. So I'm like, yeah, you guys can go. Like, it was just on the edge of, like, I wasn't supposed to let them out type thing. Where consistent white caps in the cove was the rule for going out or not.
That means
So, like, waves, when they start picking up to a certain height, they get a bit of white on top of them. It's called a white cap.
oh, okay.
So if there was consistent white caps, I wasn't supposed to let kids out, but it was also kind of my judgment. But we're like, let's do this. These kids, they've been doing good all week. Let's do this. So we go out, and they're sailing around. Like, the one boat has like 3 13-year-olds in it. It's kind of, but they were doing good all week, and I was like just jumping between boats, and
Jumping between boats.
like I was
Literally
sailing on a
between
boat, like, other boat, hey, come up, I'll jump in your boat, right? we were doing that, and I was just like talking to that boat and helping them out, getting better, and they're doing pretty good. And then one picked up a little bit, and I looked down towards like the swim area, and I see the boat with like the 3 13-year-olds. There's a floating little dock out in the swim area you can like dive off of and stuff and jump off of, and I see they're on top of it, like on top, like standing on the dock, holding onto their boat, and like their like sails are luffing around everywhere, and I'm like, oh no, what's going on over there? And as this is happening, the blue boat had a rigging issue because it was really jury rigged, but it worked. But it had a rigging issue where they lost a pin, so they were holding onto their boom and steering. They're doing that little technique where they're sheeting with the boom.
So okay, so they lost.
They lost their main sheet. A pin came out and they lost their main sheet, right?
Which is the sheet that pulls in the
so let's
big
see,
sail,
pulls in your
which like controls your boat basically.
Yeah, it does a lot more of this. It does way more of this. These are all sloops. So they have 2 sails, main sail and a foresail. And your main sail does a lot more of your stability and your actual turning, whereas your jib is more of your power sail.
Those
or
who
your
don't
driving
know a lot about
sail.
Sailing, after watching this, they're gonna be like,
yeah, it's probably not the best podcast to watch.
no. I've been making sure that anything I don't understand about sailing, because I'm a novice sailor, I make you explain.
That's good.
So I think they'll be able to learn a couple of things.
But so usually the main sheet is you can use it, and it gives you a lot of mechanical advantage to pull the sail in. There's a lot of weight on it. It's probably 100 square feet of sail area on that boat at least, and trying to pull it in by hand, and it's kind of windy. It's kind of a tough thing to do. But because of that, their steering was all over the place. But that was probably one of the better groups of sailors out there that week. So I was trying to help them. I'm in the Ranger with the group, and we're like sailing over there, and I'm trying to give them parts from my boat and telling them how to fix it. Like, hey, take this piece of line. Like, I carry emergency little pieces of paracord because I've had a lot of situations where I've been able to fix things with that. Take this, tie your main sheet to this part of the boom, which is like the bottom of the sail. It's a metal piece, and that should be good. I'm like trying to talk to them through it. I see this boat. It's on the swim dock, and they're like yelling like, hey, and the people on the swim beach are yelling, hey, get your boat out of here. They're just saying, no sailboats on swim beach. And just like saying it in a monotone voice over and over again, just to kind of screw with me, honestly, because like we do a lot of like screwing around with other the counselors like that. Like, get your swimmer out of my swim hole, stuff like that. Always in a monotone voice. But so that's happening. And it was just a mess. And I ended up commandeering a rowboat from someone at some point. Like, there's these guys in the rowing class rowing. I'm like, hey, I need this boat. Get out of it. And they're like, okay. And I'm like rowing like as fast as I can in chop.
Where'd they go?
Oh, they got on the sailboat that was stable still.
Okay.
So they got on the sailboat that was stable still, and I'm rowing as fast as I can.
This boat is mine.
So you added 3 more people to another sailboat.
It was 2 people, but the Ranger had plenty of space, and they were stable. I told them, like, don't worry about docking right now. If you feel comfortable to dock, because there's docking on a line, so you can just sail. You sail under it, like you sail, and then you sail upwind and just grab onto it and tie on. It's actually really nice because the worst thing happens is your dagger board or your centerboard just gets caught and it just stops you. Like it's kind of like a aircraft landing on an aircraft carrier where they just have a big rubber band that just like catches you. It kind of works like that, and you just tie off and you're good.
Yeah, okay.
But it's pretty easy. It's not like you're docking into a hard dock. You're gonna break the boat. But if you feel comfortable, go in. If not, just kind of keep on doing circles until you feel comfortable. So I'm like in this little rowboat that is not meant for waves, hauling ass as hard as I can, trying to get the blue boat. And the blue boat's way out. They're like they're close to the shore, but they're pretty far away from where they like in the actual like, hey, don't leave the sailing area unless I'm on your boat type thing, and they're way out there. And I understand what's happening, but by the time I got to them, my director saw what was happening and got on a commandeer motorboat and was just going as fast as he could out, and I ended up towing in the. I ended up taking the kids. We ended up tying the FJ kids that were on the swim beach dock. We tied their boat off, and I rowed them in, and then we got the motorboat to take their boat in later. But he went flying out, and by the time he got there to the blue boat, they were able to sail just by moving their boom around and doing weight positioning, and they were able to sail back in. But of course, it was like they figured it out. That's the
Smart.
Yeah, it's definitely some really good sailing technique is rudderless sailing and like manual sheeting.
That's rough.
I have a good rudderless sailing thing as well too. If you want to talk about it.
Yeah. Hey, we're at about 40 minutes. Do you want to take like a 5-minute break?
I'm fine.
That time we're at, am I right? Like 40 minutes or so?
You're underestimating it.
I checked.
I mean, I'm good to keep going.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a break, Dylan?
I kind of think we should take a break just to take break. Well, I need a bathroom. But
Well, you go to the bathroom. Yeah.
Okay.
We can take a
Do you want to take like a 5-minute break? No. No, we're just.
I'm fine either way.
Cool.
I'm breaking my rambling.
I mean, yeah, we could just break so we can just round about other things while you're in the bathroom.
Break.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, see you guys in how long? Probably like 15 minutes.
All right. That's the issue, though. I could talk about all day about sailing events because it seems like there's at least 2 interesting things that happened a week when it came down to it.
Okay, so
Just from sailing, not even including all the other things that was going on.
okay, so we're like 45 minutes in, and we've still got the Quilbillies, the aquariums. That we can also do this in another podcast too.
Yeah, part 2, part 3. Yeah,
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should just get through sailing stories today.
Okay, sailing stories.
And then maybe if we have time to move, or maybe if we end up moving on to something else.
So
I don't know. We should cut this out. I think just when we're all like done and we think we have a good length and a good amount of topic to cover.
So you've done rudderless sailing.
I've done rudderless sailing twice.
Did you ever do it well?
The first time I did it, I was able to go in like 2 generally different directions
Mm-hmm.
really well.
So I've done it maybe like 6 times, and maybe I'd say like 7 maybe, and 5 of them were on purpose. And I've had maybe 1.
Oh no!
Yeah.
So I remember.
Yeah,
this,
go for it. Yeah,
this
yeah.
one time it was like one of the first sailing camps I did. It was me and my friend were out sailing. I think this was Bowser.
Yeah, I know Bowser. Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew Bowser.
He was in my Scouts troop until before he moved. Yeah, I know Bowser.
Yeah, he's such a legend.
Yeah, he was only there for like a year or 2 before he moved, but yeah, he's cool.
Yeah. So we were out sailing. We're coming into Miller Bay, just a bay,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really high winds. I think we saw some porpoises, and what exactly happened? I think we were heeling over to one side. So if anyone doesn't know, heeling is when your boat's just like totally tipped over.
Yeah, any tipping, but yeah, just tipping over.
Yeah, so we were like we're about to capsize. Actually, we're definitely gonna capsize. So I jump out of the boat, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know if I want to get out. I'm gonna try to dry capsize. I'm gonna try to climb over the side and try to ride it without getting wet because it was freaking cold and windy." But because he stayed on the boat and tried to climb over it, he ended up just pulling the whole thing down over. So we were upside down. As opposed to being on the side, we were upside down. We turtled. And then so we climbed back up on the board. We pulled it down. We tried to ride it. We righted it, but what happened is it came up.
Righted.
We righted.
You're right. It's right.
We righted it. We wrote it. Anyway, so we righted it, But
it's
then,
a riding motion is like the term is. So it's a ride a boat is it's a riding motion. Yeah.
okay, so yeah, we
Yeah,
did
that's
that.
right. He's saying it correctly. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a yeah.
Never mind.
I
It's
think he's
weird.
just making fun of it. Okay, so we write it up, but then it comes right back down. I'm still in the water, and it hits me right on the head, just like the mast, the giant metal stick hits me right on the head.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, and then it goes back under. So we basically done a complete 180.
360.
Yeah, not complete 360, but we do it one more time. No, we did. Yeah, we did do a complete 360.
You
and
did
then, and then plus a little bit.
360 plus 180.
360.
So
yeah.
420.
Yeah.
No.
We did it for
Sure, 420.
Yeah.
That's not, that math doesn't.
It's 540.
540.
Anyway, and then we were able to get it up. So we did a double barrel roll, basically, was what it was. Then once we both were able to climb back into the boat, more soaked than we would have been if we had just jumped out and kept our heads above water and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, completely soaked in the wind. And so we're trying to sail, but then we looked back and we realized we have no rudder.
You lost. Oh, that's great.
So I think we just like forgot to pin it in or something. So
Or it's
yeah,
just loose. Yeah. Sometimes if on the boat, like you try to pin it and it isn't set all the
Yeah.
way.
Just to be clear, you can't steer without the rudder.
No, you can.
well, that's what we were talking about is rudderless sailing. The rudder steers the boat. So we had to figure out, you have to figure out how to steer without, or of course, that was when we were just beginners, so we couldn't do anything. We just got towed.
You can use your weight placement and your sail trim to steer the boat as well.
Hmm.
So you actually really don't want to use your rudder a lot. You just want it for little. If you're trying to get fast, you just want it for little course changes. Because what it is, it's breaking one side of the foil. The rudder's like a wing, and it's breaking one side, and it makes you turn the other way. That's what it's doing.
So it slows you down.
Yeah.
If
Oh,
you use
okay.
the rudder to turn. But for most, if you're a beginner like we were,
You're heavy on the rudder.
You're
Yeah.
definitely gonna need the rudder. So.
I never realized sailing was so complex.
This is
a real eye opener.
yeah. There's more.
Like, I thought it was just like a big sheet and a little cup thing.
Yeah.
And it's
You thought it was just like holding up a bed sheet, right?
Yeah, just like holding up a bed sheet on like a little floating plank of wood.
Right.
Nope.
There's always something at the Wooden Boat Festival that's like that. Is like some joke entry. It's like some little wooden like crate with like some like cotton just like shirt as a sail. It's always
Wooden Boat Festival. I don't know why I didn't think of that being a thing, but I've never heard of that before.
it's in Port Townsend.
That's
It's
actually-
September every year.
I think a lot of people know of it.
It's a pretty common, just like even if you're not in the sailing community around here.
Oh, by the way, in case you haven't already realized by your yelling dogs, your parents are leaving.
Oh.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, we can.
I can definitely hear it.
I wonder if the mics can pick it up. Aiden, can the mics pick it up?
That's what I was
Yeah.
listening for.
Wait, all right, everybody be quiet. Let's turn up Alex's mic. Turn up mic 1. Can you hear it? Okay.
All right.
I can hear before when you were talking, so I think it's fun.
Okay, great. Then just, yeah.
That's dogs just screaming.
Just screaming. Yeah, your parents are going to the farmhouse.
Where were we? Rudderless sailing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there's 2 times I've done it and it wasn't on purpose. So one of them was last year in the season. Remember we had the drill, and on we had a Saturday practice. That was a fun. Remember the Saturday practice? Were you there for Saturday practice?
I was there for one Saturday.
We had a Saturday practice. We did a rudderless sailing drill there.
I remember doing 2 rudderless sailing drills.
Well, we had a
I
rudderless
believe
sailing
so.
drill, and we went sailing on my boat afterwards. That practice.
Okay, I don't
remember that.
probably
Well, I was sailing with Izzy, and we were the only boat that could actually rudderless sail, and I was really happy. And like the twins were fighting with each other and stuff because the wind picked up a little bit after we started the drill, and I was super surprised. I've tried in the past and I was able to do it very well. We had it down, but there was another time later that season where we just lost our tiller, so the tiller is the stick that's on the rudder that you actually use to move the rudder with,
Okay.
and we broke it. So
You
Yeah.
can. I mean, you could kind of reach back there and turn it, but it's
what's
like
the point.
it's the same. It's kind of the same thing as losing your main sheet. Like you can still control it, but
So we just took the rudder out and we rudderless sailed back, and it was okay. It wasn't great, but okay.
I
During
think
the
rudderless
summer-
sailing is fun.
What?
I think rudderless sailing.
Oh,
is
it is
fun.
really
Like,
fun.
I think we got it down once where we could really control it, and it's a lot of fun because you just feel like it's like more free.
It
almost.
forces you to be in the groove, is what it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't sail out of the groove if you're doing it.
You're more physical with it, right?
You're really physical with
yeah.
this type of sailing, anyways. The little boat sailing.
But even more so if you don't have a rudder, because then you're
you
always
have to.
You
It's
can't
constant.
just, like-
It's constant. Yeah.
You can't just
Yeah.
like sit down and.
yeah. You have to always be back and
You're.
forth.
I mean, you're doing that a lot, anyways. But it's even more.
yeah.
More.
Yeah, with little boat sailing, you are the ballast,
Uh-huh.
so you have to get your weight outside the boat. You can't just sit down inside the boat. You have to get the weight outside the boat, and there's a thing you put your feet in called a hiking strap, and you just plank off the side of it to keep the boat flat.
Over the water, right?
Yeah, over the water.
And then
Wow.
it was just this one kid in our team last year who would just do that, but then he would keep going. So he'd hike out, and then he'd just like keep moving back, and he'd dunk his head in the back in the water.
You about Brandon?
No, I'm talking about Carter.
Carter, yeah, Carter.
Yeah. That sounds like
I've done
something
Brandon a
Carter
lot
would
of
do.
times doing that, where he'll be on the other side of the boat, holding a sail out, and I'll just let the boat tip just a little bit so he gets
Yeah.
a face full of water.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he'll be like, he's such a trooper. Brandon is such a trooper.
Brandon's
Um,
great.
Gosh, that kid. So the other time I've done a rudderless sailing that wasn't on purpose was so we get the Ranger. I think this was my first time on the Ranger, like the second time maybe. So it's just it's not a keel. It's like a keel boat size, but it's actually just a centerboard. It has I think it has a light keel and an extending centerboard, which I did not know about until we took it out to the end of the summer, and I realized that there was a centerboard. And I'm like, wait, that's a centerboard slot there because you can't see it from on deck. There's like a wire with a big ring, and some guy told me that it was like it holds the keel up. Like if you want to take the keel off, you pull that. And I just like, okay, I guess.
Oh, so someone thought that was the keel.
So someone said like that's how you drop the keel down. Like I don't want to drop the keel down. I'm leaving it how it is.
Okay, so the keel
Is weighted
Dylan's the-
ballast.
Yeah. It's just like a
Fin.
Yeah, and it's weighted so that the boat stays upright easy.
Okay,
Instead of
so-
using using your weight to keep the boat flat.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of different between a keel boat and like a dinghy. Is a dinghy doesn't have weight on it to keep it flat. It's just people's moving to keep it flat. But so I didn't mess with. But that doesn't really matter. But that was kind of a funny thing at the end of the summer when we're pulling the boats out. We realized that.
Yeah.
But okay, so we get on this boat and the rudder. So Piniel and Gundian, I think that's how you say it. Gundian. Piniels are like the little pins that actually drop in to the boat. You know, the rudder has the pins on them, right? So like slots down like there and there. And the Gundians,
Yeah.
pronounce, are the holes on the boat side. Usually they drop down, have a little like tab that lock them in place. But on this boat, it floats up. So you put it under the water and it floats up into a place. And there was no like safety on it. So we like cast off, and I guess we pushed the rudder down somehow at some point. So it came, and when it came out of the little slot it was in, it started floating, and we were holding onto the tiller, and the rudder's just dragging behind the boat. And this is like, there's like 7-8 kids on the boat. It's their first time they've ever sailed. And I'm like, okay, guys, you got to listen to me when I say something. And then like, everyone, I said right, left, just to make things not as confusing. Like, everyone right side, everyone left side. And we're just doing by weight sailing, just doing circles while I had 2 guys trying to put the rudder back on. But what was happening though is that since the boat was moving, it would push the rudder up. So you'd have to fight it side to side, and it would get being pushed back at the same time because it was trying to steer when it was in the water.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're like doing circles and stuff, and we ended up doing circles, and we almost hit the pier. It was so like there was 2 times we missed the pier by like 2 feet, and people were on the pier just watching it, and I'm like, it was pretty stressful, and I'm like and we ended up there's like with the sailboats, there's just a line in the water with all the rowboats tied to it, and we ended up got in a position where we had a circle, and we circled up into the rowboat line, grabbed onto it, and got the rudder on. And we started sailing after that. We're fine. But it was definitely a spooky experience. It's like, these guys have never sailed before. And like, you got to trust me on this one. No one freak out. We're going to get this. We're going to be good.
Wow.
We're not hitting anything. Yeah. That really felt good, though, because this having the experience of being on a roto sail in the past definitely prepared me for that one.
Yeah, I can see that. Because then, like, what do you do if you lose your
Yeah.
lure otherwise? If you don't know what you...
Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, you know that if you do your opposite, right, where you put extra pressure on your lures if you go windward, and extra pressure on your lures if you go windward. Yeah, that was an experience, for sure.
Wow.
So that's your roto sailing story. So we have two more
Two more interesting.
two more exciting things.
Oh, I had the little stormy weather. That was another one.
The what?
The one I was talking about where it was a little stormy in the.
Yeah, that was the first. I said you could do 3.
Yeah, roto sailing was 2.
You're
Oh,
allowed.
okay.
So
Yeah, you're allowed to do 3.
Okay, I'm allowed to do 3. This was more of like a fun. Yeah, this is kind of a fun one. So we found like a little inflatable like ring. It's like a little like pool ring a kid would use. Just like it just floated up to the pier one day and we grabbed it. We found a lot of random floating things. But we grabbed it and we threw it in one of the FJs, and we're like out there sailing for like the 4th day. So they knew what they were doing at this point. It was the first week. And they're like, "Hey Alex, can we tie the ring onto a rope off the back of our boat and use it and like drag people?" I'm like, "Sure." So they were like, well, at first some guys wanted to hang out in the ring in the water, like, and then they were like, they're like, "Can we drag?" So they just like wanted to do like a like an inner tube drag with the sailboat.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it would screw with their steering a lot. 1 because of the weight, and 2 because it would get in the way of the rudder. But it was hilarious watching them try to do that. That was also, as that was happening, there's big blue like 50-gallon drums that just float out in the water. They're anchored down.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the boundary. Like, hey, don't leave this unless I'm on your boat type thing. That's the general boundary. And there was one that was just directly upwind from this one boat, and they really wanted to touch it. They really wanted to touch the buoy, and they probably
Touch the butt.
Yeah, they were saying, "I gotta touch the butt," right? They're doing that whole Nemo thing, and they probably tacked 20 times, like just within like 30 feet of the buoy, and these could not get it. And some other boat sailed up and hit it like first try, and they started fighting. But that was fun. Like sometimes there was like a lot of really just good lighthearted moments. Like it's just cool seeing them have fun and knowing that I made it possible because I taught them how to do it. Yeah, really satisfying.
Yeah, I see that.
It's something all teachers, I'm sure, get. Well,
yeah, that's the whole point.
Maybe
that's
all. But
you should get
good
that. If you are
teachers.
teaching, you should want to
see your students succeed. Yeah.
And have and enjoy that they are.
Yeah.
Right.
So, school.
Okay, school. So I go to a boat building school, but I think it's more of a woodworking school. I mean, all we do is build boats right now. Like the beginning of the first couple weeks was general woodworking, and there's a difference between woodworking and carpentry, and the difference is a 16th. So woodworking is your tolerance is a 16th or less, 16th of an inch, and carpentry your tolerance is an 1/8 of an inch.
So that's how specific you have to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 16th is pretty small, and even then you want to get a little less than that. Like the goal is to have no gaps in anything, but just practicing that, and I like building stuff. I built a little sailboat in high school. It kind of sucked, but it was like something to do at least.
Yeah.
And I sailed.
You mean like a actual like full size?
It's like 9 feet.
Oh,
9-foot
okay.
boat.
Yeah, I see. You showed me a picture of that.
Yeah, and I mean it kind of sucks, but like
Does it
I've
get the
sailed
job
it
done?
and stuff. What?
Does it get the job done? You know?
No.
No.
It's too much of a
Fail.
pain. There's a lot of things I know I need. There's a lot of things even when I put it in, I knew I needed to change. But it was a timeline thing where it was like my senior project in high school, and I had to get it in the water before the end of the year, and it was like 2 days before the end of the year. Got in the water. But that kind of got me in the boat, and after that, I'm like, okay, I want to do this the right way. I want to figure out how to do it the right way. So, found out this school in like April last year, and I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do at least for this year.
So what's it called?
Northwest School of Wood and Boat Building. So I'm gonna get an associate in wood and boat building, traditional wood and boat building. So that's to me that seems so weird saying that, but like, it really, I mean, it's to say it's like a call. They like to try to say they're a real college, but I mean, we have classes on boat design and stuff, but it doesn't feel like that. It just feels really laid back, and we just build boats and stuff. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I can
so
show you the
cool.
boat we're working on right now if you want.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I would love to be able to, someone like, oh, where did you go to college? It's like, oh, I got a English degree from Washington State. It's like, oh, where did you go to college? I got a degree on traditional wooden boat building.
And I'll have like I'm gonna have a maritime history class coming up soon at night. This is the current boat we're about to finish.
Okay.
Nice.
18-foot.
It's pretty
Oh,
nice.
Work
that's
skiff?
on your Instagram. I
Yeah.
can I'll
Yeah, show notes.
yeah, we could show the camera.
Show the camera, but
Which is
in-
gonna be not in the live stream, but afterwards we're
Yeah.
gonna put
Yeah,
the.
we'll put it in.
and then in the actual podcast we can cut in an actual picture. That's just for you to see it, so that you can find it again.
Why do you need to?
It's like the worst thing you could do.
Straight
See, that's the current boat we're about to finish. We're painting the bottom, and it should be done about then.
Nice.
But it's definitely not a big more. Good. Yeah. Good way of saying that. A greater appreciation for woodworking and doing things that are not automated. Because like a lot of high school engineering was learning how to do automate processes, like how to use a CNC mill or a CNC router, or how to do 3D printers and laser cutters. And it's all computer based stuff. Where there's a lot of good stuff to take from that. I think it's super useful on it, but also being able to do all this stuff by hand is really, I think, empowering and just interesting as well.
It's more of an art.
Oh yeah, it's definitely an art. You know that because like half the guys there wear like either berets or some other weird hat, or like like a scarf. It seems like there's like 3 types of guys there. There's only one girl in my class of like 30.
Nice.
There's 30 people doing boat building right now. There's also a systems class, which is like diesel engines and electronics and stuff. But in the boat building, there's 20 guys are doing traditional, and 10 that are doing contemporary, so more plywood and fiberglass type stuff, but still wooden at its core.
What are you doing?
I'm
You're
doing
doing
traditional,
traditional,
yeah. And
Of course.
Yeah.
Obviously.
yeah, and we're doing 18-foot flat bottom power boat. It's we went on a 16-foot version of this one. It was really fun. We went up we motored up a river on it. It's pretty cool, and it's a great boat for just like playing around and going crabbing and fishing and stuff. And we're building a Sid skiff, a 16-foot Sid skiff. Starting I guess yesterday we started it.
I love that word, but I have no idea what it
A
means.
skiff is it's a flat bottom boat
Oh, okay.
with really low sides.
Yeah.
Um,
What's a Sid?
Sid is so the story goes is that so there's a guy in Port Townsend, he's kind of a boat building legend named Ray Speck, and he's the designer of this boat. And he used to be down in Sausalito, California, where there's also kind of a wooden boat scene like there is in Port Townsend. And the harbor master there at the time was named something Sid or Sid something, so he named it after him because it was taking lines. He had a boat there that was like wasn't identifiable, like it was like a one-time build.
Yeah.
That he liked a lot. And he said, "Hey, can I take this boat and take the line?" It's called taking the lines, where you figure out the design of the boat that's already built, and take those lines and work on them and try to make something that's similar. And he named it after the guy that owned the boat. But we're building that. It's a pretty sweet little traditional sailing skiff. And it's a real clean looking boat. And we're building another a round bottom motorboat as well, throwing that. And that boat's kind of fun because all the information we have on it is like 5 pages in some old like 60-year-old boat building book where it's like here's 2 pictures of the boat, here's like 4 pages talking about the boat and like where I found it and stuff, and here's one photocopied table that gives you all the numbers you need to build this boat, but some of the numbers don't work out right, so have fun. So kind of how it works is like where you start is you get a thing called table offsets, which is just a big table, and it says like at 24 inches from the bow, the boat is this tall, and it has that for like a whole bunch of different dimensions of the boat. We'll have like it's this tall and it's this wide and there's this much curve, and it's just a big table. But what you do is it's called lofting, where you like draft out the boat. Like usually when you're drafting something, it'd be in scale, so it's like 1 inch in the draft is 1 foot in real life. Where you do it 1 to 1. So for the boat we're doing right now, the power skiff,
Drafting's like drawing.
it's like drawing, yeah. So you draw on the ground usually on plywood, so you can move it around.
Yeah.
A full size version of that boat. You draw it all out. So then you can make sure all the parts fit together correctly. And it's the more complicated the boat gets, the more crazy the drafting gets. And it takes a bit of time. It's a lot of there's like probably over 1,000 lines for sure.
Wow.
I can link you some stuff you can put in the show notes. It's kind of crazy. It's real crazy. It's a real traditional way of doing it, but it's super. It's really useful because you can take parts and put them on the drafting and know if they'll fit before you have another part that goes with it.
That's pretty useful.
Yeah. So the guys that were drafting that boat, which is the first step of building the boat, had a lot of these lines don't match up at all. Like I don't. They had to make it the choices of like how they wanted to fix that change and stuff. That's kind of cool.
More of a creative aspect.
Yeah.
Into the boat
Whereas
building.
the other boat we're building, the guy, it's super detailed. There's like five different drawings, like a blueprint drawing, a construction drawing. There's a ton of information on it, and the guy's alive, and we know him, and we can go drive 15 minutes and go talk to him if there's any issues with the. Or that boat, you have to build it exactly how he's. It's known the guy like you have to build exactly his specifications. For this other one, it's kind of like we're taking liberty and trying to figure out how we think it all fits together.
Do you think you're ever gonna like design your own boat or get into that?
Well, I already
No.
did design a boat, but it kind of sucks. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm interested. I kind of doing naval architecture type stuff. That was kind of what I want to do before this. But I don't know if I'll pursue that. I kind of want to go. I'll probably go work in like one of the boat yards up in Port Townsend doing boat repair for like a little bit at least. But I don't know. I'm just kind of messing around. I want to be self-employed no matter what at some point. That's my goal. And do something woodworking related, even if it isn't boating related. There's like it's a company called Wormwood, and they do a whole bunch of different woodworking things that are all like D&D related, like dice boxes and like tables and stuff, like really cool, just nice tables. And like kind of what they're doing, I'm kind of interested in. I've been making a couple dice boxes lately just to try different things out and showing them to my D&D group and asking them like if they, if this is cool, what should I change about this? What would you pay for this? Would you buy this type of thing?
Right, yeah.
Doing some early product stuff, and I don't know. I just want to do something woodworking, even if it isn't boat building, with my future and trying to be self-employed. And I think doing either that type of stuff or doing like nice tables is also really interested in that. Doing contemporary woodworking tables, so like doing like epoxy inlay, so you can inlay glass inside the table, like cracked glass, and it looks like a river if you use like a bluegrass, or like a lava if it's like an orange and yellow glass.
Okay.
It's kind of cool. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's kind of cool. I can show notes more, that type of stuff, but stuff like that's kind of what I'm interested in, even if it's because I don't know if I want to do like boatyard repair forever. Like I would like to do new builds, but I mean, people don't buy. There's not as much of a market for people buying new wooden boats than there is people repairing old wooden boats. But it is also kind of cool to think for like one of the boats in the yard right now is 110 years old, and they're doing work on it right now, doing some major work on it. Just be a part of keeping that alive, keeping the history of it alive. So that's kind of appealing as well too.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah.
Do you think any of the skills you're learning now could, heaven forbid, one day be used on not a wooden boat, like a regular boat?
Like a plywood or like a fiberglass boat?
Yes.
Yeah, well, like design wise, yeah, you have design stuff, but I mean,
working with fiberglass, you're not trained for that.
Yeah. They have a fiber. I mean, that's what the contemporary classes is a lot more fiberglass type thing. I don't.
That's what modern boats are made out of, right?
Mostly, yeah. Mostly fiberglass or any sort of a lot of just composites are. There's like ply and then fiberglass is a lot of that going on too. I mean, there's still a market for wooden boats. Like it's called live wood. Like you could chop down an oak tree and use the wood from that instead of engineered wood like a plywood is.
Yeah.
There's still. I mean, people are buying these boats that we're making, so there's still a market, but it's just not. It's not as big and it's kind of competitive because of that.
Yeah.
But I think I can use these woodworking skills in a lot of different areas. And the thing about boat building, it's a lot of making curved things fit together well, which is a lot harder than making straight edge things fit together well. And I think that's probably a really good thing to take away from it.
Yeah, definitely very useful.
If you're doing woodworking, at least.
Yeah.
Dylan's looking at his notes.
Yep. How have you changed the view of yourself from last year to this year?
Okay, so it is January.
Yep.
It's like January
At least I'm
19th?
pretty sure it is.
20th.
Yeah, let me think.
One of those.
Yes.
What was going on in January last year?
It's like
So
right before sailing.
right before
season
sailing.
started.
Yep. in a lot of ways, I kind of changed. I feel pretty similar, but I changed a lot before, like, kind of at the end of the summer before that, or during the summer before that, maybe.
Okay.
Well, it's like actually, why don't you start at just the beginning of high school?
Oh, beginning of high school? Oh, that's way easier to actually do like a kind of a.
Like, what did you think that you were gonna do, and like, how did that change? And
Okay,
you know,
beginning of high
all
school,
that kind of stuff.
I wanted to be an aerospace engineer because I
Wow.
played a lot of Kerbal Space Program, and that's why. And I'm like, this is super cool. I want to build rockets for real.
I feel like that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know a couple people.
Yeah, so I was really interested in I wanted to do like either aircraft or rocketry. And I mean it's a lot more simple, but I mean in a way kind of like then it's kind of switched to like boat design. It's all like trying to get faired surfaces and stuff. And I kind of changed like boat design after a little bit and then to where I'm at now. But the big differences. Well, one, beginning of high school, like girls were something super mysterious that like I just like wanted to know more about. And in high school, I'm like, stay away from me. I am not messing. You're interrupting the rest of my flow of life.
Wow.
I have important things to deal with.
Jeez, what a man.
Yeah.
Gosh. Boys only in my treehouse.
That's definitely like a thing I felt like was. I feel a lot more. I think I had a lot more self-pity at the beginning of high school. Trying to feel bad for myself. That's definitely a big difference. Is now like I don't feel lonely, even though like not a relationship or anything. But before I'd be like, oh, I have to find a girlfriend. I have to find a girlfriend. Oh, this is what I have to do. I have to find a girlfriend. Where now is like, I don't really care that much. It's just a lot of drama. Let's be honest. That's a big difference.
And it's not like, honestly, you're not missing much in high school, right?
Yeah.
It's not like people are super mature and
No,
you're going to settle down with
there's
this.
not a lot of good people there to
Yeah.
in general. And it always seems like there's drama, even if it's not someone you're dating. It seems there's always drama involving girls you talk to. Like
Well, it's not so much about being in a relationship as it is, oh, he's in a relationship.
Yeah.
Like, it's the fact that you're in that relationship.
Yes, exactly. It's not that you're in a relationship.
Seems like
that you
people value that more.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, you kind of like the person. Like, oh, we listen to the same music. That doesn't mean a lot though.
Yeah.
Like, in the long run, but it's kind of a status thing where like, or not even just for other people to see, but just for you to feel about yourself.
Yeah.
Where like, even if you don't like, I feel like that's what happens with like all my girlfriends. Like for the most part, it's like, yeah, we kind of think it's similar, but I don't really like her that much. Depends. There's gonna be some people out there that probably will never see this, but if you ever do, yeah, you can be mad.
Damn. Cold. Just thinking of your life's decisions.
Yeah, other things have kind of changed like that.
Regrets. Do you have any regrets?
Big regrets?
Like, yeah, big regrets.
Let me think.
Well, it's good that something doesn't immediately come to mind. I think that's a positive.
I regret that.
I mean, well, first of all, do you believe in regrets? Do you believe in the philosophy of regrets?
Like, there's things in my life that have been like, it could have been better if I did it a different way.
Yeah.
Anything of that way. Like, I feel bad, kind of that like my most recent ex-girlfriend, like, I can't talk to her at all because like we broke up. And then she kept on texting me for like months, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I kind of want to talk maybe because we have other things, we have like mutual interests still.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I ended up telling her off like, okay, I can't talk to you all the time.
Don't want to lead her on either, right?
What?
Don't want to lead her on.
No, it's like, I was just like, we would talk about kind of mundane, let's like talk about like D&D and like, okay, it's cool, like talking about D&D with people and stuff. And like, that was like pretty much, that and Stealing are the only two interested things we have. Mm-hmm. Only things we had left interested yeah, two main interests that are left, but we're really different in a lot of other ways. But I just feel bad because I kind of went off on her and like, hey, stop! You can't text me all the time, right? Yeah. And then I felt I was kind of mean about it. And this was really 9 months after we broke up, and I guess it's kind of a lot of people say it's not my fault, but I just felt I don't know. I had to ask her a question about something if she had a parking pass for the Port of Kingston. Yeah, I couldn't find it. Did
something really mundane.
Yeah, because she asked for it at one point because that's where they practice sailing.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked her, and I was trying to be nice, like, you know, how was your summer and stuff, and it was pretty cold, and I'm like, I just feel bad because I felt like, but I mean, I guess it's also not my fault too. But I'm kind of sad we're just like not interacting at all. It's like that's just one person out of, even though it's just one person out of 7 billion that I can't interact with anymore. It's
Still
it
means
still
a lot
kind
to
of
you.
feels a little. Oh, and it feels. I just don't like that there's people that are written off that I can never talk to that person
Yeah.
before, especially if it's someone I could really talk to before.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel bad about that, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Pretty much over it. That's another thing is like, is one of the mental things I have to work on that I know is wrong with me is that I shouldn't feel bad at all about that. I think
Yeah, which is
I don't think I should feel bad at all because I don't think I was really in the wrong because she was the one that kept on talking to me and I kind of made it clear like, okay, we need to talk a little bit less maybe. Even though I do enjoy your company to an extent still, but
so maybe you could have done it differently.
I could have done it differently. I guess I admit it. I could have done it differently, but yeah, I don't know.
I think even if you haven't made a mistake necessarily, you can still feel sad that these events have happened.
That's
you know?
true. I guess that's definitely true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learned a lot from all that though. That's what
Nice.
matters.
Yeah,
I mean,
And
what
that's
matters.
why, kind of senior year, I'm like, you know what? I'm just not gonna talk to any girls at all. You know what? This.
so back to freshman year, right?
Yeah. No. That was the opposite of freshman.
No,
year
he
was-
came full circle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I see that.
But no. But the second time was on. Senior year is by choice though.
Yeah.
And of course, always. I'm not that great looking, but of course, all these guys guys, all these girls like stalking. Like, I kept on like following me around. I say
Yeah.
stalker, but like, there's always like that one person that's like, "Hey, my friend like really likes you."
Oh,
Like,
that's
weird.
weird.
There was a lot of that going.
Like,
There's
come on, we're in high school.
Like I'm at a
It's like, what?
dance, and there's like this girl's like, "Hey, my friend thinks you're really hot," and turns out she's a freshman. Like,
You told me about that.
I think maybe she was a sophomore. I think it was a freshman. Do you remember?
I think he was a freshman. I'm pretty sure.
It was
Yeah.
super weird because her friend's like we kind of hung out a little bit at that dance, but her friend was like some sort of intermediary that was like delivering these messages that were really weird, like
That's
like
weird. Like just talk.
yeah,
like a normal
I was talking to
person.
her, right? But then
Yeah.
she would leave to do whatever, and then her friend would come, and her friend would be like, what was her name? Actually, I shouldn't say her.
No, you shouldn't.
I shouldn't say her name because she could be somewhat connected to this podcast. She does have a degree of separation from this.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
I
everyone
mean-
has 6.
6
6
degrees.
degrees, yeah.
Exactly. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Becoming 5 now with the internet.
'Cause that's the thing is like, if you know 1,000 people, then you're 2 degrees of separation from like a million people. Is that how it works? Or is it a billion?
Something along
Because
those
you know
lines.
1,000, and the next person knows 1,000.
Yeah.
So that's a million.
it
You're
just
2 away from a million.
exponentially
Yeah.
multiplies.
That's
And then
crazy.
3 from a billion. Then yeah. But yeah. I can talk about that off air. But okay. But her friend was like telling me about how
That's
like
that's like the whole like elementary school. Oh, you know, I think he likes you.
Yeah,
kinda
it's like
thing.
it's like,
Exactly,
what, that's
but
some
her
middle
friends all,
school
like-
bullshit
her
right
friend's
there.
like, or that girl's like, my friend hasn't had her first kiss yet. And
Oh
she
my
really wants it
God.
before she turns 15.
That's so
Before
weird.
she turns, I'm like, hold the fuck up, okay?
Yeah.
Like,
Hold the phone.
I'm like, no, that's a nope right there. And of course, like her friend came, it's like super flirty. It's like, have you ever been in the center of this circle? And like tries to drag me in there, and then like, of course, the lights come on because some girl like dislocates her hip. 'Cause she's
Of
friends with
course.
someone. Were you there?
Wait. I know.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
That was
Hey,
whose
you were there, right?
I was there.
whose
no,
girlfriend
no,
was
no.
that? That was Isaac's girlfriend, I think.
I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's
You know
right.
Isaac?
Yeah, he used to wrestle, right? Like
I
in
think he
middle school,
plays
maybe?
baseball.
Oh, yeah,
He
you
might-
did wrestling.
Yeah, I think
That's it,
it's the same
that's
Isaac.
Never mind. Anyway,
It doesn't matter.
yeah, it
But
doesn't.
yeah, no, but it was like I escaped the bullet there because she kept on like texting me on Instagram afterwards. She found my Instagram like immediately, and of course that's how I started talking to my ex girlfriend again. Is like I asked her like they went to the same school. Like, hey, do you know anything about this chick here? And
Yeah.
then my ex girlfriend started talking to me after that 'cause she's like, someone's interested. I like to think it's because she was like, someone's interested in you again.
That's
Hmm.
yeah. To be honest, that's kind of a weird way to start talking to your ex-girlfriend again.
Yeah, but I just
to
wanted.
be
I
honest.
was just like asking someone like I was the only person I knew at that school.
Yeah.
I was just trying to get some information.
Mm-hmm.
But she kept on talking to me after that, and that's how it started again. And that's how it got weird again. But yeah, no, like weird stuff like that would happen all of the year, and I just like just be gone.
Yeah,
Push
be
them away,
gone.
like,
Thou
nope.
be gone.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a big difference. I feel like.
Definitely.
I feel like I definitely feel more confident in my like I would say I feel less confident in my academic abilities now than I did at the beginning of high school, but I feel way more confident in my like technical abilities and like being able to make stuff and things like that.
That's
Which
good.
is an interesting trade-off, and I don't know if it's the best trade-off, but
I think it's a good trade-off.
Especially where you are right now. You know, you're done with high school, and the college that you're going to is.
it is a real college.
It's a real college.
It's a real college. You get associates in traditional boat building. But yeah, I always like they always like to try to call. It's always funny because like all the instructors like they're like, yeah, it's a woodworking school, right? Like it's a furniture. It's like if you go to a furniture school, it's a woodworking school. It's a trade school, but like it's always funny that people in the office, especially the one like the career service woman, she always like our campus is all. She always talked about like how our college campus and it's like we try to be a professional campus here. And like I always think it's funny, but
yeah. What was I saying? I was saying Oh yeah, so now that you're in there, you don't really need to worry as much about academics. I think woodworking would be like the priority, your technical skills.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm stupid.
You want to specialize, right?
Yeah, I want to specialize.
As you're older.
With like woodworking stuff.
Because you don't need to, be good at.
Well, it's nice being good at math.
English essays.
I can definitely do a lot of quick math in there. It helps out a lot.
That's good.
Doing a lot of just like a lot of fractions because imperial units.
Go to the bathroom.
But not to say that I don't think I'm somewhat intelligent, but it's a humble brag. But no, I definitely feel like I went to high school pretty cocky. Like, ooh, I'm in advanced math. I was accepted into the AP program, but I'm not going to do it because I'm too lazy. But yeah, going to high school.
I tried to do the AP program. It killed me.
Yeah, only AP class I took was AP Calc.
AP Calc, is that tough?
Well, I passed it with like a B, I think.
Oh, okay.
But did I get on the AP test? No. And like there was times I really knew what was happening and times I did not know what was happening.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, well, at that point I'm like, do I need this?
Did you?
No, I don't need it for what I'm doing now. At least.
What is calculus? It's like dealing with...
Calculus is talking about how function... Well, one of the main things is talking about how functions change. So like, like a slope of something. Yeah. But it's like the change of the slope. Because you'll have a function that creates another function. And how those interact. Like, there's a lot of that. And there's a lot of talk... figuring out like volumes of really awkward things. Really awkward objects.
Mm-hmm.
Or figuring out areas of really awkward... Like, of non-linear things. Like, area under a curve. Like, finding... area under the curve is like you can use it for like statistical. That's the best thing. It's talking about change and finding really weird areas and volumes. Those are the two big parts. There's like a third part of it. I can't think of what it was. But
talking about calculus.
I was just saying like
I
was just saying like. Yeah, when I felt into high school, I felt really cocky about my academics and leaving it. I felt pretty...
Right, the AP, getting into AP,
Calc.
or not doing AP because you're
well,
too
I took
lazy,
AP Calc,
whatever.
but...
That was me and him this year.
Yeah, we just dropped out of AP because we're like...
That's
Screw that.
Nope, done with that.
Yeah, but I also kind of realized, like, it's a lot of kids they are just trying to do college prep stuff, and it's not what I want to do, so...
It's like, it's so... It's like suffering now for the better of the future, but taking it too far.
But you're also possibly it might not make a difference.
Exactly.
Is that it might not make a difference if your college isn't accepted, but also may not make a difference if you don't pass the class. Where you could suffer through the whole year and or the test and pass the class with an acceptable grade, but you don't do good enough on the tests for it to actually matter.
Yeah, it's like you want to... This is a section of your life, 4 years of your life, which by the end of it will be like a big portion of your life. When you're 18, 4 years, that's quite a lot.
At the end of high school, it's a big chunk.
Yeah.
And you're going to spend that whole time thinking about your future and working, mindlessly towards one goal.
It's like you got to have friends.
I really think that my high school experience got better every year.
Yeah.
Like,
I can relate with that.
Oh, I
2 years
guess-
going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two years going
I
strong.
think it really just went all the way. Every year got better. Maybe there was a little dip. There was a little dip like fall, like winter quarter, sophomore year. Going through some relationship stuff, and in the middle of wrestling season, so I'm like starving myself to try to like make weight and stuff.
Mhm.
But other than that, it was pretty much just all the way up. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah. By the end, it's like, do I want to leave? Like, I get to hang out with my friends and just like I have 6 classes a day. There's like 5 friends, like 5 close friends in each class, and all we do is screw around and eat like cheap cookies and like launch tires across the shop with an air hose and stuff.
Nice.
That was we had like bike tires, right? And we get the air hose, we'd spin them up and then launch them across the shop. And we were doing that one day, and Neil, the instructor, comes. He's like, "Hey!" He's like, "What are you doing up there wasting air?" He doesn't care about the fact there's like a dent in the wall from the tire. He's like, "Stop wasting the air."
Wait, hold on. Is that
What?
you can't waste air, can you? Right.
It's just an air compressor.
Yeah, it's just an air compressor. Oh,
Yeah, it's just
stupid.
using a little electricity.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was great. Oh man, that man is amazing.
Nealon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Just,
interesting.
Senior year, the alien lecture we had one day. It was like,
Oh,
remember we had like
no.
some sort of space
Okay,
week?
wait, hold on. So, if anybody doesn't know Mr. Nealon, what's like how would
Alright.
you describe him? Just like
He has an
short
axe
little
to
bit.
protect from the zombie apocalypse in his classroom.
Yeah, so he's an engineering instructor, and I think if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing boat building as well,
Oh, that's good.
because he encouraged that. But he's a really cool guy, and he's really knowledgeable, and he does a lot like to build the program he has, and he has a great shop for the high school and stuff. There's always new stuff there, and it's but he's he's really fun though, as well as he could be serious. Depends on the year really. Some years he's more serious than others, but we had like a week of like space related days, like spirit days. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. There's like Alien Day, and then a bunch of kids wanted to dress up as Mexicans.
I didn't hear about that, but yeah, there was an alien day, right?
Yeah.
And Nealon didn't know about this because he's like, I don't look at the school newsletters. I don't need those. I run my own program here. So he's seeing these kids dressed up as aliens, like walk around the hallways, and he's like, what is going on here? So that whole day,
so
quickly in his
confused.
first period, he made like this little, I think he didn't have a class first period or something, like he has his planning period. So he like made a quick presentation, which was like just like 20 different pages open on an internet browser. And it was just about the different types of aliens and their characteristics and what technology we can take from them. And he was like we just like come and he's like, we got a really important class, we got a really important thing today. And he's like, when I was younger, I really did believe in aliens, but like now it's kind of there, like who knows? But he's like, this is some weird stuff I want you guys to think about.
Yeah.
And it was like, we're going through and it's like, yeah, so the greens here, the greens are like little Japanese tourists. They go to the Grand Canyon, they go like, ooh, what's that? They take pictures and they leave. But they're pretty chill. But you don't want to talk to the reptilians, though. They will abduct you. They'll do all the. It's just he's going through all the different types, and it was hilarious. We're talking about like sonic resonance and stuff like that.
And okay, so how seriously does he take this kind of stuff?
It was all joking the whole time,
Oh,
back and
okay.
forth, like laughing and like everyone's making jokes. I have a video of that whole thing, but
Oh, you do?
yeah. But I was filming the floor the whole time because he's like, I don't want to see this on YouTube, so.
So we won't
Actually,
put
I'm
it up
filming
there.
my foot the whole time, and I'm wearing my sailing booties because it was like because for seniors we're supposed to dress up as astronauts, so they were like black boots. So it was just an hour of a neoprene or half an hour of a neoprene booty just there.
Yeah.
No, it was a pretty amazing. It was pretty cool, but talking about like sonic resonance and like Göbekli Temple and all that type of stuff. Talking about how like supposedly a lot of the stones in the pyramids were quarried 400 miles away, and like the whole theories about how they moved them.
Yeah.
It was definitely a fun class. Yeah. Those are the best things. Talking about space whales and stuff in that class.
Space whales.
Talking about how we can't go to NASA secretly doesn't want to go to Europa because there's space whales there, and they know that, and they don't want to.
They know this space.
They don't want
whales.
to. They don't want to tell the public about it. Talking about how every day we get closer and closer to the Skynet singularity. And yeah,
A couple days ago.
Are you on?
Actually, it was yesterday. Yeah, I unmuted.
Can you hear yourself?
Yeah, I can hear myself. Anyway,
some kid was wearing a Hustler shirt and he didn't really like it, and so apparently while the drill was happening, it was a barricade drill, and he's like, okay, if anything goes wrong, we're sending out the Hustler kid. And that got to the administration's office, so every one of the students got a note, and he had to go, and I'm pretty sure he had to like.
Is this Nealon?
Yeah.
Oh no, they're gonna get him.
So every person in the class, for Nealon, they all got a note. Everybody just left.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I don't know if he had to apologize or something.
Dang.
But yeah.
Damn.
So he just didn't take the school shooting drill that we did at school seriously? I guess not.
He never does. Well, actually, remember we
That's
had
hilarious.
that lockdown. We had a little like an intruder lockdown. Remember that the year before this,
I remember
where there's like
that.
some
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
with like over on the far side of the baseball
He
field in
had
a
guns
house.
or something. Wasn't
Yeah.
he just cleaning his gun?
So I don't know, but it was like some guy had a gun on the far side of the baseball field. There's like houses there. And
Yeah.
I don't know, but it was nothing like. It turns out there's no threat to the school. Is what it was.
No.
It was not school related at all.
Yeah, I
But,
heard he was just cleaning it.
Yeah, or I don't know. Someone said like, it was kind of like a, okay, that was illegal. We have to do this, but we don't know. Yeah, but I think I've heard that as well.
Probably best not to clean your gun near a school.
Like on the back porch.
Yeah.
facing the school.
Maybe not a great idea.
Yeah, I don't know, but there was nothing really there. But I had Nealon for that period when that happened.
Oh.
I was in his class, and we're like, okay, let's go into the shop. So we there's like the classroom area, and there's like the shop, and there's like a balcony up top in the shop where like I was building my boat and stuff. So like, let's go to the shop, so we like all go to the balcony, we like lock all the doors and stuff, and we're just like hanging out up there, and everyone grabbed like crowbars and like lathe knives or like turning, not knives, I can't think they're called, like the big like the cutters used for lathes. It's like a big handle with a big like blade on the end of it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, and like wrenches and hammers. And we're all like on the top part of the loft, like looking down, like ready to throw. But we're like, we ended up just hanging up in there and for a while, and we kind of were like, okay, we're on lockdown, but nothing's really happening. At one point, Nealon's like, I want to go get my coffee maker, and he's like runs down the stairs and like goes in the classroom and gets his coffee maker and runs back up. And he only brought one mug. We're like, okay, can we have some coffee? He's like, gotta get a mug. So I found the PVC pipe with like a cap on. And he's like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. But,
Darn.
we just kind of sat up there for 2 hours and talked about whatever. It's real fun.
Nice. Sounds like
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
The only interesting stories I have about those lockdowns, or actually it was just a drill that we did. It was I think I was gonna play Pumped Up Kicks,
classic.
as soon as the drill started, because we knew it was gonna start in like
Of course.
third period or whatever.
The school shooting drill. Why not play pumped up kicks?
Yeah, so
That's usually they should play that on the speakers.
They should.
as it happens.
No,
That's
they
when
should.
Everyone knows like the duck and cover. That's the duck and cover signals.
Yeah,
That song.
and like the school well, would they know? No, they'd probably figure it out. They'd be like,
Yeah, but
oh, they're warning them of me.
Yeah, but
it's like,
still.
what if they turned on that song as there was like an actual school shooter? So you know that's like the sign, that's
like
the
the-
signal.
Yeah.
You know that there's
Yeah,
a school shooter if the music's on. But then people after that, they listen to that song and they just get PTSD.
Whatever.
Yeah, they would actually.
Yeah.
That's
It'd be
true.
such a cool. It'd be way cooler though. It's just, Yeah.
Anyways, I was gonna play that song. So what I did is I snuck into class.
like if the
Or
fire
not
alarm goes.
snuck in
Sorry,
class,
the
but-
fire alarm goes off and the song plays. That's how you know it wasn't a real fire alarm. That's the cue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I put a speaker up on like one of the shelves or something where nobody would see it. I had it turned on and everything. And we ended up making it through most of the period before the drill started. So by that time my speaker turned
Oh.
off,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize that. So what I did is I just grabbed it, and as we were like walking out to our like meetup area or whatever, I just stuck it in some other kid's backpack. Stopped walking, like walked backwards until he was like, I don't know, like 10 yards away from me, and then I just blasted it. And my speaker's pretty loud too.
It's pretty good.
Nice.
At
He threw it at me actually.
my German class had this what's it called? Like gift giving. Not really a white elephant, but just like a Secret Santa type thing. And we had this running joke in our German class about how there's no frogs in Germany because Anna asked like one of the first days of class, she asked the teacher if there was frogs in Germany for some reason. She's just curious, like what? And the teacher made EJ like, why wouldn't there be frogs? In Germany? Of course, there's frogs in Germany. Why do you think that? And we'd bring that up all the time. This was like we had like pretty much the same group in. We had 2 years of German, and I had 2 years of German, and the second year was just the good half of the class. The other half of the class is left. Like the half that no one cared about. That like the ones that like they're like they either didn't care about the class or like they weren't contributing to the jokes. They just left. So it was a pretty lit like second year. There's only 12 of us, but we had this gift giving thing, right? And we found like a singing bass fish type thing at Goodwill, except it was a frog.
That's what that is. I see that.
Yeah.
They play it, like every period.
Yeah. So we gave it to the Frau, and she's like, "Oh yes, this is great." But as a thing where you like as a motion sensor role play, Joy to the World, the one that Jeremiah was a bullfrog. That one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we'll play that if it's turned on, and you go across. So like we would hide it in the classroom in different places, like behind like books and stuff on the bookshelf, and we were doing some sort of drill, and it went off once, and it was great. Man. Yeah, is the geese painting still there over the side whiteboard?
That's it. I don't think so.
There's like the whiteboard with the homework.
Yeah.
There was a frame picture of some geese flying that we just like scotch taped to the wall there.
I don't know. I'll have to look.
You have to look because that was Anna's secret Santa present because she really doesn't like geese. She almost ran one over one time when we were sailing, and it was pretty impressive. Like he was sneaking up on it and almost got it, but
damn.
But but we didn't have anything attached to the wall, so we just scotch taped it to the wall. Yeah, we did I feel like we really terraformed that. What?
Scotch taped.
Oh, I see it.
The map right there, scotch taped.
We did a lot of forming of that room.
And we're gonna put another poster soon.
Can't talk about that one though.
No.
Can't talk about that one. Yeah, I meant to bring a studio opening gift for for you, but I kind of messed it up on like Thursday. I have an hour-long lunch at school, so I have a lot of time to do personal projects. I kind of screwed it up on Thursday, so I don't have it. I'm sorry for it.
It's all right. It's fine.
You are our studio warming present.
Yeah.
Alex. Your presence.
What episode?
Your
is this?
stories, episode 1.
Is this episode 1?
This is episode
It's-
1.
Well, like
Kind of.
1 part 3-ish.
We've recorded how many other
The first one that we did was in my old room.
Mhm.
I traded my room out to get the studio. I sleep in the closet now.
What was in here before?
What?
What was in here before?
This used to be my dad's office. He got a new office though.
Okay.
So anyway, so this is the studio now, and the first one that we did was me and Aiden. We invited over Carson Bennett.
Yeah.
And we just took a camera with, I think we just had like clip-on mics that my dad used to use for
lapel mics,
which aren't good mics for podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
They just aren't. They're okay. They're okay for voice, but it's gotta be like
crisp.
It's gotta be
Clean.
really crisp. So anyway, so we just sat down at my table with the camera, and we were all pretty. I mean, it's just pretty kind of awkward since we were improvising the whole thing and whatnot, and also most of the time we just talked about politics.
That's no fun.
And we're also all high schoolers. So it doesn't. I mean, talking about politics in high school, it's just nah.
Yeah, I understand.
I mean, there were a couple funny things that happened throughout the
Your
whole
opinion
thing.
matters, but it doesn't matter to anybody else.
No,
Especially if you're in high school.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we might end up just like chunking up a couple bits of that and posting
maybe
it or something.
And
like
you guys were really camera shy.
Yeah, it was just a little awkward. Which is kind of one of the main inspirations for this room was that it's so much more comfortable.
This thing is great. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see there's the sound panels right there. They make the shape FS.
They're arranged in FS.
For Flamingo Studio.
Oh, I see.
So we just got the carpet and the futon in here yesterday. There's on our Instagram.
Built this futon.
Yeah, I got a flamingo story when we have time.
Oh, nice.
All right, so we have the Flam Stew Instagram. We just posted a video of Dylan accidentally destroying this futon yesterday.
It's okay. It's fine. It'll work.
Anyway, what was my point with that?
You were gonna. No clue.
I don't remember.
Oh yeah, 3 podcasts beforehand.
Oh yeah, and then
Okay.
we came into this room like before we got anything set up, like it was just this room empty, and we shot one, but it was an amazing podcast. The problem was that it was super specific, like everything that we said had to do with very specific people,
And we said their
examples.
names.
Yeah, we said their name. Like even if we bleeped it out, it's still everybody knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Everybody who knows us, if they watch this, they're like, oh, I know exactly who those people are.
Yeah.
And it was also just like, it was just very.
Wasn't very
very
applicable to a
personal.
larger audience.
I mean, it would have been incredibly interesting, but it's just it was very it was like really personal. It was most of the stuff that we talked about, like too personal. Yeah. So and then we just shot a couple of like ones mostly just to test out live streaming and all that kind of stuff.
So this is the first actual podcast
Yeah.
with a live
Yeah.
setup.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Flamingos.
Yeah.
Okay,
Flamingos.
so this summer. Okay, so first off, my sister's Girl Scout troop used to do this fundraiser called Flocking, where they have a bunch of like lawn flamingos, right? Just like cheap. Plastic
Oh,
lawn
I've heard of
flamingos, right?
that.
And you put it out on someone's lawn, and you start with someone like say my sister's good friend, right? You put it on their lawn, and you put a thing on saying, "Oh, you've been flocked." You call this number and to get the flamingo removed. But it's like implied like it's a fundraiser, and you're supposed to give a donation to the flamingo removers, right? But once you do that, you can choose who you want to get flocked next. Like you can say like, "Hey, I'll donate some money." Like, "Hey, you should flock this guy and this girl," right? And you go. Those people take the flamingos, go to their yards, put the flamingos in, and the same thing continues. It's a pretty fun fundraiser.
That's a good idea for a fundraiser.
Yeah, they did make good money. They made good money on it too. But they don't really do that. They haven't done that in a while. But they have a giant box of my sisters do have a giant box of flamingos in the garage. So I stole one to take with me to Parsons this summer, just to put in front of my cabin. We were always like trying to do things to decorate the our area. Our area was a complete slum. There was like there's like 18. Think about this: 18 guys, all between the ages of 15 and 20, living in a pretty small area.
Wow.
Like I mean, each cabin only had like 3 or 4 guys, right?
Mhm.
But we all had a shared like communal area where you had like chairs and tables and stuff set up outside. But there would always there's like 4 guys who just screw it up for everyone and just leave trash everywhere. And there's always a fight, or like the trash can would always get filled up and no one would dump. I took the trash can this one time, like ran over to the dumpster, poured it out, came back. This guy comes out of his cabin with a trash bag, full trash bag, ready to put in this trash can. No, you take that there. Like, no, that's not how this works. But that's for a different time. But I had this flamingo,
Infinite
right?
trash.
And I brought it, and I'm like, you know, it'd be cooler if I gave. Okay, actually, this is how the story went. I remember now. So I had this flamingo for my cabin, right? And it's the first day of that week. It's like week 2, I think, week 3. So I'm kind of getting in the groove at this point. And it's like the first thing you do with your guide trip that week is you give them a tour of camp, show where everything's at. And I'm getting them a tour of camp, and I'm getting pretty hungry. And I'm kind of going close to where my cabin's at. And I stop and like, hey guys, just wait 1 second here. I'm gonna go grab something from my cabin. And I run in and grab a cereal bar and eat it as fast as I can. And then I grab the flamingo from in front of the cabin and bring it back. Like, hey guys, this is your flamingo for the week. I'd be honored if you guys put it in your campsite. In the interest of your campsite, and at the end of the week, you can write whatever you want on it. Like hopefully something memorable from the week that happened, like a quote or something. And yeah, here you go. Like, yeah, cool. And it was just I had to figure out some reason to why I went over there other than saying, "Oh, I was hungry," or I was trying to find something. So I think that was a good save. But that went on for the whole rest of the summer, where I would just give. That was like I would just like be standing there waiting for them to arrive and have a flamingo, like give it to their leader, like, "Hey, here's your flamingo." And tell them the whole tradition about it. But
what did they write on it?
So that week, I think it was like they wrote like Shablamo or something that week. Because like this one kid ended up like he like moved multiple states halfway through the week. Like his family was moving, so he was only there like 5 of the 6 days. So he left like the Friday night, and like I guess that kid's catchphrase was Shablamo. So they're like, we're gonna honor him.
Rest in peace,
memorial.
Shablamo
Yeah.
guy.
One week was like they wrote eggshells for some reason, and I asked them why, and they just started giggling and said, "Don't worry about it."
It's definitely a story there.
Yeah. 1 week was salad and cake. There's there's a dining hall song where it's like where like the two sides like yell at each other about salad and cake, like which one's better.
Yeah.
And they really liked that, so they wrote salad and cake on it. I don't know. One was just like there was 1 week where like they just kept on writing their troop number, troop 235, and they're like mottos like our tradition is alive. So they like wrote that like 1,000 times on there. Or, like they were the last week, so I'm like fill it up as much as you want.
Yeah.
But they also like tried drawing a mohawk on it, but they ended up going over another troop's like thing they wrote because they didn't in the process. I'm like, what? Yeah. I ended up actually getting. So that was the third week. I ended up getting the second week's later on. One of their guys came back to actually staff for a week as a junior staff member.
Oh, nice.
So that was cool. I'm like, hey, can you help me fill out this? You know, I was trying to get everyone for that whole summer. So I got that one, but I still don't have the first week's one, which is kind of sad. But yeah, that's cool. That troop was they're from Canada. It's kind of interesting. The second week one. Yeah, they're cool guys.
Cool.
Yeah, but I just got Flamingo in the garage now. There's just random things written on it.
I think I've seen that before.
We'll take one.
Have you shown me that? Because I remember you said you've told me something about that. Just like a signed flamingo. That sounds really cool.
I might have mentioned it offhand, but I got it. I mean, I got to admit, this happened this summer. So
Yeah. I was thinking at the beginning of the summer or something.
Yeah.
I might have. It started like maybe sometime after 4th of July is when it started. I don't remember. Yeah. But I don't know. I got that there, and I'm only gonna be able to work there 1 week this year because my school goes throughout the summer. So, I'll probably have a flamingo for 1 week, but yeah, that's cool. Now, but it was funny because staff members would ask me throughout the whole summer, like, "Why do you have this flamingo?" I'm like, I would have to explain it to them, and it's kind of funny. Like people just stare at me for the longest time. Like people that work there, they're like, "You've worked through the whole summer with me, and you still stare at the flamingo," and it's like. Yeah, I don't get it, man. Or like, they're like, I don't understand. Why do you have the flamingo? And I explained it to them, like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Where were we before? I think, like on our main
first
topics.
podcast. Talking about what podcast.
No, how are you changing?
Yeah, it was how have you changed since like freshman year?
I think we covered that now.
That's enough.
Yeah.
I mean, really, just like I don't care about things as much anymore.
Since the beginning of this podcast.
Yeah, how have you changed since the beginning of this podcast?
Much more relaxed.
Pretty relaxed.
Fairly relaxed.
That's good. I think I noticed something about this podcast. So you know how I was talking about the 5-minute break?
Yeah.
The podcasts that have the 5-minute break, they seem like they're more shows.
That's
like,
true.
The H3H3 podcast, they have a 5-minute break, but they're kind of like a show, you know? They're like performing almost.
Scripted, yeah.
But we're just the Joe Rogan podcast. They don't really have breaks, and they go for like 3 hours. And it's like I don't think we're gonna go for. We're not gonna go for 3 hours.
What are we at now?
2 hours.
Yeah, we're at, I think.
I mean, hey, we could just try to get a home run.
Yeah, let's go for
Get
it.
6 hours.
The next thing I have to do is
No.
the next thing I have to do is at 4:00. So if I leave here at like 3, I don't have to drive home. I can just drive straight in there. So that's how I'm feeling about this.
I'm gonna dip after like 2 hours and 5. I'm not. I can't talk for that long.
Well, I mean, I feel like sometime we should just try to get a 6 hours.
Well, no. I think once we're a bit more popular, we need to do a charity live stream.
What charity though?
I don't know, any charity. But it's like the whole thing with the charity live stream is like they go for like 8 hours.
Get a lot of people on. You got a lot of different guests. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have a bunch of different people, and it's just like try to raise as much money in this length of
Did
time.
you hear about
Very fun.
There was a oh, let me get the story straight. There was some are you guys familiar with the Dick Show?
The what?
The Dick Show
No.
by Dick Masterson. I don't really, I've seen a couple clips from it, but I don't really watch it that much. It's kind of an interesting like internet phenomenon. There's a lot of drama about the guy that runs the show and this other guy that used to do a podcast together. But I can see the charity stream somewhat recently and raised like $30,000 for like kids with cancer. But then some like hit piece came out in like the New York Times or something, talking about how this guy you don't want to take money from this guy. So they end up taking the $30,000 donation away from the charity, and the charity of course is like they don't want to say like, oh, actually we'll take the money for the kids. So they're like, it was it kind of sucked though, because like, well, is it okay for this guy that has kind of questionable views to to give this money to with like it was like St. Jude's or something's hospital, something like that.
Oh yeah. Like the whole thing, like if a rapist donates $100,000 to charity by like doing something, should the money still be
Yeah, that's
donated?
kind of the same idea. It was not as crazy though. They
No, I know. I'm just expanding.
They were just saying
it.
he was like controversial, as a controversial figure.
That's stupid.
Yeah, but the thing though is I learned that kind of how the YouTube donations works with like Super Chat is that they go into a holding company for 3 months, and what they do is they do a short term investment on that and make 3% off of that money that they get that gets taken in, and so like they hold it separately to say, oh, we're just making sure this you deserve the money, you don't break YouTube guidelines, but what's happening is it's actually cooking in a pot. They get like 3% of that. So of course they held it for that amount of time, 3 months, got their 3%, and then gave the money back to the guy that earned it all.
Yeah.
Or gave it back, not to earn it all, the people that donated it.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's kind of.
But of course they had to hold it for that certain time, so they made their money.
Yeah.
Well, then they're making the money off the controversy as well.
But that's not in the article. The mainstream article.
Of course not. No. Why would they talk about?
I don't want to talk about politics.
Nope.
I don't know why I brought that up. Charity stream. That's why.
Charity stream. Yeah. Cool. Well,
But, I mean, politics is only the worst thing that we could talk about. Yeah. Yeah, we could talk about life philosophies. Give us your outtake on the world.
for about 4 minutes.
Do you actually have to go or something? Or?
Well, no. Do we want to have a 2-hour stream for our first stream?
Well, how long? What are we at?
Hour 56.
Okay, well, if we make it to 2 hours, that'd just be, we could hit 2 hours.
Okay.
Whatever, that'd be cool. We don't. We could save that topic for the next time though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next time,
okay.
if you want to come on again.
I would love to call it again.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun. Well, I mean, we had a bunch of stuff, but
We pretty much hit it all.
well,
I'll
we,
get to go another Quilbillies story real quick.
like 4 minutes, right? Dylan, you don't want to go
I gotta-
forever.
No, I mean,
Or do you
I just don't want to go like 3 hours. Is what I mean.
Okay, so why don't we just finish off with the Quilbillies story?
I got a quick Quilbillies
Yeah.
story. So
Quick Quilbilly story.
The faucets of life. I want to talk about the faucets of
okay,
life, though.
so I'll go real quick on this. So this is the first day. It's like one of the first things you do at camp. A week is a swim check, right? So there's like 700 kids standing on the pier waiting to do a swim check, and some like a motorboat comes in and like docks on our dock, and this like shirtless, shoeless guy with wearing shorts is just like walking around like, hey, can you guys spare any gas? My friend's out there with no gas in his motorboat. He's like asking all these random people like, who here is in charge of the gas? I need to get some gas. Can I buy some gas from you guys? He's like walking around this like shirtless, shoeless. Was like, oh, it was so funny. He's like, we're like, yeah, we can help you. We can help your buddy out. Facets of life. How I see my life, how it's divided, I guess. Definitely. I got my sailing part of my life. I got my woodworking / making part of my life. Miniature painting, like tabletop gaming type thing. So that scouting, even though like I'm not a Boy Scout anymore. I'm Eagle Scout now. I aged out.
Oh,
Still
nice.
somewhat involved with like the scouting stuff with like OAs, like Scouting Honor Society, Boy Scouts Honor Society, like kind of active with that, but I've moved kind of to Port Townsend, so I'm kind of far away from my group for that, but
Yeah.
still kind of active with scouting and stuff. I'd like to get back and do it some more, do more mountaineering. So I'm part of a venturing crew that we do mountaineering stuff only, and get
Yeah.
back into that. And then that's really see parts of my life right now. There's still, I definitely have a techie, nerdy, video gaming side, but not as much as before. Those really the main things I feel like.
Yeah.
Man, what am I missing? Missing something. Ooh. Folk music / sea shanties.
Nice.
Oh
That's
my
a-
god, I remember that.
That's a part of my life that I have such a hard time conveying. That's actually it's actually cool, but you think it's really weird.
No, I think that's amazing. That's
no,
great.
but it's like a thing that I have a really hard time conveying to people. I enjoy, and I don't know. That's always a weird one to try to explain to people.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you've always told me about the at the Port Townsend Wooden Boat Festival.
Yes, yeah.
They have a sea shanty circle,
Mhm.
so that's like your outlet for your.
Oh yeah,
sea
it's like the
shanties.
once a year thing. It's like it sucks because they used to have like a every other month or like every month type thing
Oh,
in
yeah.
Port Townsend. They don't have it now that I'm living in Port Townsend. It's not there anymore because now they just meet every Wooden Boat Festival. But there's one. There's like every month one over in like Lake Union, but I'm not gonna drive there from. Yeah, so this is of course my luck that I moved to Port Townsend. They don't do that anymore. So yeah, but September, it's time. It'll be time again.
Time to go back to your brethren.
Yeah, it's always fun. There's always interesting. There's always a lot of like kind of just people are into sailing. There's always a few interesting characters. Like the one that like she'll come in like wear no shoes and she'll like sit on the couch with like her foot in her hand like picking at her nails and like where did she come from? Like where is she from? Like everyone else seems like pretty respectable and there's like that one person. It's like
Yeah.
she's like eating like a piece of chicken, like picking her teeth with the bones and stuff. Like, what? All right. And I was like, she's like, and it's like goes around the circle and it's like, what song do you want to do? And she's like, I got this song about whales, talking about how the whales are dying. It's like, no, not the whale song again. It's
Not again.
not every year with
Every year.
the whale song. God, no, it's an interesting. There's like the Polish guy that comes in has a super heavy Polish accent, but he's like super. I guess sea shanty is really popular in Poland for some
It
reason.
is.
What?
I don't know why I know that, but it's just I feel like that's a thing.
You feel that.
I just feel it
that
in my soul.
the Polish sea shanties really resonate with me.
It does.
There's a.
In Ireland too.
Oh yeah,
obviously,
Ireland has definitely.
Of course.
But it's a different sound than
Yeah.
like Poland is. There's a lot of. I think with the Polish sea shanty stuff, there's a lot of ones that there's a lot of mainstream shanties that
Mainstream shanties.
that have a Polish version that are sung in Polish as well as like what the English one or the French equivalent of it. But Ireland like has its own unique sound to it.
Yeah. Different genres of sea shanties.
Yeah, there is
Different geo.
yeah, it's actually I think it's really interesting about it is how a lot of them get transferred around. Like why I was there at the Sea Shanty Circle and there was this woman singing this song in German about the Sacramento River in California. Like it's so crazy that these
That's
people,
really interesting.
they're going around the world and there's all this multilingual mixing and stuff and how things like that developed. I think it's really interesting.
That is super interesting.
I think that's really interesting. But it's really hard to track that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But, yes, I think it's definitely one of the reasons I'm interested in is kind of just the thought that there's like this guy got captured by Somali pirates a couple years ago.
Oh, nice.
Oh, and didn't he he made it through and
Yeah, he's back out
wrote
now.
a book about it.
Yeah. You've seen that podcast, right? Or it was I saw on Joe Rogan, but they're talking about how
Yeah, it
he was
might
on
have
this
been that.
this ship that was taken over by pirates, and the whole crew was like Chinese, but he was like forced to work on that boat, and they had like this pigeon they all spoke, and like they all spoke this like English, Chinese, and whatever they made up language. It's kind of interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, it's just,
Wow.
I guess you keep people stuck together for long enough, they figure out how to talk
Yeah,
to each other.
Yeah.
guess so. That's interesting.
Wait, so what was the pigeon about? I heard pigeons is just
pigeon?
somewhere in there.
Pigeon is it's kind of like it's not really a real language. Pigeon kind of develops in certain multi-cultural areas. Like in Hawaii, pigeon's pretty common, or a lot of like I don't know a lot. It's kind of like there's some native Hawaiians that like they speak pigeon where like it's kind of a mix of English, kind of a mix of Hawaiian, and it's kind of there's like a lot of like slang and slur to it.
Just like communication.
It's weird. They're talking, yeah, but it's like they're trying like if you speak to someone like in Hawaii, for instance, that speaks like Island Pidgin, they're speaking Hawaiian and they're speaking English to you at the same time, but you usually can understand what they're saying. But a lot of ships would develop Pidgin languages over time, where the crew, even if they spoke different languages, could communicate over time.
Yeah.
Between combining languages and throwing other stuff in between.
That's interesting. Ships out sea kind of become their own kind of like
Yeah.
island, and they develop their own language.
You're stuck with those people for months at a time, years sometimes, and stuff like that happens. Yeah.
Wow. Cool. Do you want to wrap it up then?
You took a nice big breath, so I'd assume that's it. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I want to wrap it up.
Way to call him out.
What?
I said way to call him out.
Yeah. Jeez.
All right.
Exposed.
Yeah.
Cool.
What do you call me? No.
I'm happy with that.
All right, Alex Ashley, everybody.
You can follow me on Instagram and see pictures of my boat that I'm building right now.
What's your Instagram?
Alex Ashley 76. Yeah. That's also actually I shouldn't say that. Yeah. Yeah.
Should we bleep that?
No.
No.
You can see my Instagram. I was gonna say why it's that.
Oh, okay.
It's not like something
Because
weird.
you're the 76th Alex Ashley.
It was yeah. It was yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
just
Okay,
let's
you don't
move
say it,
on.
don't
I'll-
say it.
Yeah. Okay.
Keep it a secret.
It's not that
don't
interesting
worry
though.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you for watching if you did, and thank you for listening if you did. This has been the, what are we calling it?
People Podcast
Yeah.
Live, because you know why we call it that? Because if you take People Podcast Live and you take just like the acronym for it, it's PPL.
Yeah.
Like
Which is
people.
people.
Ooh.
So
Bam.
many levels to it. Okay, thank you for listening. Do you want to end it now?